Hello and welcome into this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. We are broadcasting live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. So it is time to kick off our Esports Tower Overwatch Week 2 Spring Rumble. Tonight we have the return of the Everest after the roster mix-up in the last Rumble, but we also have two completely new teams. The Acid Rains and the Cyclones join the mix to see if they can come out on top in this week's Rumble. I am your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me to call all of the action is Brenner Bear Ladd. And so I have to ask about the big roster mix-up that the Everests are coming back from after their split roster last week. What are you expecting from that?
I mean, we saw that most of the members from the Everest of the previous Rumble were really the team, like the key members of the teams that they led. So I expect now that they are coming back together in a new, rejuvenated of we came, played with random teammates. We saw how that went, and we were the key leaders. Now coming back together, we can perform at our A game at the A team, and now facing two completely new teams. I definitely think they have to be playing a little bit safer, a little bit tighter together. But at the same time, they're back together. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
The Everests typically are our favored winners for the Esports Tower Rumble, but that doesn't mean the Acid Rains or the Cyclones can't take them down because they're completely new. What's it going to take for the Acid Rains or the Cyclones to kind of topple the Everests, climb the mountain?
Yeah, since they are a completely new team, they could match the Everest on that individual skill level, but at the end of the day, Overwatch is that team-based game, so it's going to come down to that team play of can you have the opportunities to outmaneuver the enemy team, as well as team composition. A lot of the issues we see with these teams is they just pick a team composition and stay to it. They really need to be able to be a bit more flexible and change it up on the go in order to match what the Everests are playing. Which
makes a lot of sense. You got to be, Overwatch has all of these heroes. You can't just play one or two of them. And so moving on from that, the Everests are back. We have the Everests, we have the Cyclones, and we have the Acid Rains for the group play. And the roster was split again, as we mentioned before, and we'll see how far they're able to get this time. But the Overwatch 2 beta is less than a month away. Are you excited about that? And what are you most looking forward to?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be the first new content for Overwatch that we've had since Echo, which was 2020.
Oh my gosh, so, Echo was so long ago.
Yeah, any update would be welcomed, and the fact that it's a whole new game and they're specifically, focusing on the PvP, leaving PvE on the side to just start outputting content is definitely exciting. Gives us something new to talk about rather than just Overwatch patch notes. They changed like 2 things. Woohoo!
And so Doc's keys to the game that will help all the teams here or in Overwatch. It's to never take a fair fight, which means take fights in unexpected places when they're unprepared, and tempo, tempo, tempo. And Doc's keys to the game are presented by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. So our first matchup for tonight is the Everest versus the Acid Rain. So we'll see if the reunited Everests are able to take on this 100% new team of the Acid Rain. The Acid Rains definitely have an uphill battle going. You could almost say it's going to be a mountain of a task.
I mean, the Everests have been the reigning champs ever since he took over that #1 spot from the Pink Panthers, who sadly did not return for our Spring Rumble. But now it's the Everest time to shine, and they currently got the crown on their head. So we'll have to wait and see if Acid Rain, with a new team, it's going to have some familiar faces, but we'll have to see if they'll be able to take them down. And starting on Lijiang Tower, no less.
What are we expecting from the Lijiang Tower? There are definitely some very concrete strats. Walk us through right now, especially with the Acid Rain with the Sim Bastion is trying to do.
Yeah, this is definitely something that we've seen even Boise State pull off, which is, the Sim Brawl teleport in, especially with the Bastion, but starting off with the open ring map is definitely not the best map for this strategy, and Diamond Dog immediately just going right into the back line. I mean, trying to disrupt it, but they have to get set up first, and Diamond Dog's going to buy the time that they need to get set up, as for the Acid Rains going for a bit more of that dive comp to try to get right on top of that Bastion. It's going to be their win condition.
Bonesaw was finally set up. People are finally coming to them. They're going to go ahead and back up into that hallway after picking Sweatpants because they were taken down low. It looks like the Acid Rain just has the point right now, but Bonesaw's going to see what they can do on the Bastion, see if they can get any picks and maybe turn this around. And with that pick on the Delirious, that might help the Everest out a little bit, but it ends up being all for naught as Bonesaw is going to go down. And you have to think at this point that this is probably an Everest reset first fight.
Yeah, they just were very split up, surprisingly, as Panda comes in with the double, no less. They retook it pretty quick. I mean, Panda just won that fight for them.
And they definitely lost a couple of members and they played scattered, so I would say that they just picked a lot of 1v1s and ended up winning those 1v1s, which isn't going to help against every single team out there. And so it'll be interesting trying to see how the Acid Rain is going to go around and kind of like subvert that, maybe play as a team around the Everest relatively scattered playstyle right now.
Yeah, Diamond Dog tried to go for the knockdown on Frozen Phoenix. The Nano won't come out, but again, the Bastion's their win condition. They had to take him down, and so far they just haven't had a coordinated attack yet.
I have to wonder why they didn't wait out the amplification matrix, especially after Delirious was eliminated on the Brig. Because an amplification matrix on a Bastion is just huge and definitely not what you're looking to push directly into. And it's only a couple of extra seconds to wait here. But now with 45% and climbing, the Acid Rain have about 2 more fights here.
Yeah, it was definitely a questionable team attack for Acid Rain, but now they're regrouping. And then for that full attack, Sweatpants was not with them. He was pushing off on the left side by himself for that whole attack. So now they're pushing right into the mines as well as the wall and Transcendence here. The Everest are sitting pretty on the point, but they were able to kick down Bonesaw early on. So they should be the fight in their favor because they are +119 swapping over to the Sombra, bringing out the Rally and the Primal Rage. Sweatpants even going to use the duplicate on Wrecking Ball. Should hopefully continue this fight in their favor, now taking down not Doomfist as well as Panda Squad going down. Blank swapping over to the Sombra has been the change in their team that they need.
And it does look like that Zenyatta is going to see what they can do here. They're going to get hacked, proving the Sombra's value, just like you were talking about. They're going to end up getting eliminated by Blank there with a melee kill, no less. And it looks like the Acid Rain took him 81%, but now they definitely have this, and they have a little bit of room for error. They can afford to lose one fight before getting back on the point with the Everest at 81% here. And so we have to think that the Acid Rain wants to play aggressive and together right now. They want to take the fight before the Everest are ready for it.
Yeah, and Frozen Phoenix try to jump right on top of both a Bastion and Symmetra is not the engage you want if you are Acid Rain, and now already losing Sweatpants and Delirious, quickly followed by a Lukey falling as well. Blank just trying to go for the rotation. Even just random spray and pray is able to de-stealth him, so he's just going to have to teleport out, wait for the teammate to reset. Luckily, playing that Sombra allows him to escape.
Definitely an uphill battle here for the Acid Rain trying to take over this next fight here, especially with the ultimate disadvantage as the Everest are going to pop Tank Form and Amplification Matrix, but they're going to lose Panda to Blank at the back line. This EMP is their win condition. If they get it, they have a shot. If they don't, they can't.
Yeah, and it's a great EMP, going to land onto 2 members, but Blank was immediately eliminated by Panda Squad, quickly followed by Diamond Dog taking down Lukey, but Frozen Phoenix able to pick up one onto Panda Squad, but Boneside comes right into the backline, taking down both healers and the Winston. That is first point for the Everest. Pretty rough start, but they brought it back and they just held it.
They did bring it back. 62-100 is actually one of the closer matches that we've seen with the Everest so far. So it does look like the Acid Rain is at least giving them a game, which is definitely what we're here for. This was a good EMP by Blank. The follow-up came up onto Panda Squad, but unfortunately Bonesaw just got that off angle on the Bastion. And I actually think that's what handed the Everest this point, is the off angles, because there is no shield for the Bastion. There is no protection really for the Bastion either. The Bastion is just playing in unexpected places. And you gotta think it's up to Mango to start looking for those Bastion places that might be potentially good off angles and sleep them. Because it's very rare that Bonesaw was ever behind any cover on Bastion, but it looks like they're gonna switch to the Pharmacy anyway, which is significantly harder to land sleeps on.
Yeah, not even bringing in Ana, so sleeps aren't even in the question here, but Everest also going back to that Pharmacy combo along with Panda Squad on the Tracer just to harass the backline. Frozen Phoenix just very much holding that front lane and not really having support from Lukey, just holding so far back. the D.Va needs to just be getting in the far space to deny the damage. Blank able to pick up the first one. That's the team fight in their favor as they are +1 heading into this. There you go. That's exactly what Lukey needs to do, is just start getting in their face, applying the pressure to the pharmacy and taking them out of the fight. It's 2-for-1 value. That's exactly what you want as Sweatpants takes down Chum is Fun. But now Bonesaw getting that value, taking down Blank. It's easy trades, 1-for-1, but losing a Roadhog for a Junkrat is a very good trade if you are Acid Rain. But now Blank even going to swap over to the Cole Cassidy as Diamond Dog takes down Mango, as well as Bonesaw, who already charged up that barrage to take down Sweatpants. Hence, as not Doomfist, D-Mex, Lukey, and Panda Squad takes down Frozen Phoenix. A huge swing in the team fight for the Everests.
Delirious got rocket sniped there at the end on Bonesaw. Great Pharah play. It is a little bit interesting that they chose to go for the pharmacy on the point that least allows for pharmacy. Like, there's just the outside area and it's not as open as the other maps on Lijiang, but they're doing it to great effect there. However, Acid Rain was able to sustain them for the entire fight, so you got to think if they're able to manage the Pharah barrage better and predict it, they could have this in the bag.
Yeah, it's going to be all eyes on this pharmacy, so Mango's going to immediately throw down the Amplification Matrix, and the Valkyrie's going to come out from Pando. Blank's going to get the first elimination of this fight onto Boneside, which is exactly what they needed to do to get a leg up, but immediately Panda Squad even things out by taking down Mango. The main heals down now. Diamond Dog taking down Delirious with his mines. That means no heals for Acid Rain. That's going to be a reset. They're just going to have to stall for as long as they can. Sweatpants even with a nice icicle to the head. Taking down Chum is Fun, but he got ran down before he could get that heal, so that's the reset.
Acid Rain is going to look for a huge Blizzard here, but they have to eliminate not Doomfist first, otherwise the Blizzard will just be sound barriered, and that'll be the end of that. Blank also could charge Cassidy ult, then do the High Noon, just to get the Far Mercy ult out of the air. That is a valid two-piece right there, if Blank is able to pull that off.
Yeah, right now Acid Rain is going to need to put the stress on the D.Va and Cole Cassidy to take down that pharmacy, because they've been really uncontested for a lot of time, getting so much value. When Blank was on that Junkrat, he got taken down first by them exactly. So now Ho tries to go for the flank play, throws down the Blizzard. There's the sound barrier to answer it from not Doomfist. And Mango, once again, the first one to fall in this team fight. He's the main healer, the one you need to protect. So the fact that he's going down is so crucial for Acid Rain. But now also losing Blank and Sweatpants and Frozen Phoenix and Delirious. They lost 5 members at this point, so they're just going to have to reset and start trickling in, because Everest are up to 80%.
Just a little bit slow there on the DM, not quite fast enough to save Frozen Phoenix, and if Mango's elimination didn't seal the fight, losing Frozen Phoenix definitely did. And I think the biggest problem the Acid Rain is having right now is not the Fire Mercy, but actually Diamond Dog consistently eliminating their Baptiste first, because you don't have a shot after that.
Yeah, and pretty just out in the open. Deadeye's going to come out here from Blank, able to zone him out of the point, but they haven't even been able to cap it yet, as the Everests are at 99. Sweatpants able to get the first elimination onto Chum is Fun once again for the Everests. But once again, Diamond Dog goes right onto Mango, as you touched on, kind of being a huge issue for Acid Rain, not being able to protect their healers. So now Panda Squad's going to take down Frozen Phoenix, who's trying to spin and win on point, and as well as Bonesaw. With the help of both healers to take down Blank. He tried to be that anti-air, but with so little members remaining for Acid Rain as the D.Va falls, that should be it. Still overtime, so Acid Rain trying to trickle in, but the Everest will take map number 1.
I definitely think that losing your Baptiste first was the biggest problem the Acid Rains have, because it happened all of the fights that they were going in first, and it was usually the Diamond Dog on the ball. And then at that point, it was pretty easy for the Far Mercy to come around and flank and get all of the, or not necessarily flank, but get all the value that they needed to. However, this was a huge flank on that Bastion, and all those off angles were just huge, I would say, in leading to the Everest victory there.
Yeah, Bonesaw on the DPS is someone we've continued to highlight for the Everest, is just how much they've been a playmaker for their team. Is just, he was, when he was with the team, he had the Symmetra behind him, so they tried to push him, and they just got burned down by both of the point-and-click win heroes. When he was off by himself, they just couldn't contest him because he was always at the weirdest possible angles, and you're just like, why is there a Bastion there? And then you're dead because you just can't react fast enough. So Everest continuing to show why they're the #1 team in these Rumbles.
And we actually do have a little bit of stuff going about Overwatch 2 going in here. So before we get into our next game, which will be the Cyclones versus the Acid Rain, before we get into that, with the announcement of the Overwatch 2 beta, you have to make sure you are prepared. But don't worry, Apollo at the ET Overwatch head coach has 3 things you need to do before the Overwatch beta comes out. So let's check that out.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are back here for the Everest versus the Acid Rain map 2 here in our week 2 spring rumble. You get to see Dr. Haskell there with a lovely little smile. And this second map is going to end up being Junkertown of the Everest versus the Acid Rain. So we'll see who's going to come out on top here. What are some specific strategies that you're looking for on Junkertown, Runner?
I mean, for the attackers or even defenders, it's going to be about the snipers for that first point because of how open it is. It's going to be the Widows, the Hanzos, and the Ashes. But at the same time, I expect to see probably some Orissas as well, maybe even some Sigmas, because they have just been more prevalent in the meta, especially for this map, having that double barrier and allowing you to deny so many of those sniping angles because they can deploy it much faster and not have to commit the whole body like the Rhine to it. So that is definitely what I expect going into Junkertown, as well as maybe Junkrat himself having those lobbing the nades to burn through those exact barriers, maybe even a Soldier 76 if the Everest try to go for that Pharmacy once again, who also excels on this map. Being at such an open first point, it's really just going to be who is your comfort pick that you work on, and already we can see on the side of the Acid Rain, they're going back to that Sombra that worked out so well for them.
And we do see Blank on the Widowmaker, just like you were talking about, some of the snipers there. We'll have to see what Avian can do on the Sombra, or even Bonesaw on the Genji, which is a little bit unexpected, to be honest, here. We haven't seen much of the Bonesaw Genji on the side of the Everest here. And Panda's going to get the first elimination onto Dark, and that's huge. Rez is going to come out, and Panda's going to get eliminated by Blank. But still...
Yeah, getting those +1s, +2s in these fights. And Bonesaw with this Genji is actually doing a lot of work for his team, able to take down Blank on the Widow, no less. Yes, it seems that the Everest just want to kind of run into the face of Acid Rain and take that fight, because they've been doing it and they've been excelling at it. So now Sweatpants on this Hanzo is going to need to try to contest these in-the-face damages that they're going up against, that has the Everest pick up the 2 remaining supports and might just get this first checkpoint pretty uncontested after winning that fight.
The Real definitely made some valiant efforts on the Baptiste there, but unfortunately it will not be enough here. As Bonesaw is looking for a little bit of poke and ultimate charge, they will get Dark, and they might end up getting the Widowmaker here, Blank, if they're not careful, but they're going to have to go through the Hanzo, and it looks like Diamond Dog completely has that handled. Bonesaw coming in for the last little elimination there, and that Blade feels just a little bit personal, just on top of the Baptiste there. They are going to be able to eliminate the Bonesaw there, and that just kind of puts a stop to their push, which is good. Exactly what the Acid Rain was looking for.
So it's really, for the Everest, what their team has been Bonesaw and Diamond Dog diving specific targets. And as you mentioned, that Genji Blade was very personal. As soon as he got it, he used it to try to take down the Real Evan for that Immortality field.
And it looks like as we go into this next fight, the Real's going to go ahead and keep people up. Blank is going to go down to Bonesaw there, and they will be unable to get the res just because that Genji is camping them. They're going to get the res, but it's going to cost them their life. Amplification Matrix might come out here. Huge Immortality Field is going to go ahead and save the Orisa, but it's not going to save Dark, and it's not going to save Blank there, as they're both going to fall to the Brigitte there, as EMP is going to come out after they were already up 2. So we have to wonder if maybe they could have won that fight without the EMP, but still overall a clean win.
Yeah, did commit a lot of ultimates there, but for Acid Rain to try to regroup here, they're going to have to be playing around this Gratific Flux to set up a lot of these eliminations, and Sweatpants is also very close to these double dragons, so Wombo combo of those 2 ults could play very much in the favor of Acid Rain.
Blank is going to go down to Bonesaw, so is Dark, and starting down 2, you got to think that's not a good look for this final fight, for what's almost going to be this final fight here. They're going to have to pull off the Sigma ult of their life if they want to take this.
Yeah, it was a great hack coming out from Avian right as the Baptiste threw down that Immortality Field, which canceled out the Immortality Field. Well, then now they're just going to continue to push right into their spawns. So now Acid Rain really needs to just have a solid regroup, maybe even just follow right behind the double dragon so they can have a push and not just immediately take a hail of fire outside of spawn.
Blank is going to get the elimination on a triplet, which is huge. It looks like Diamond Dog is setting up just to mine their spawn door, and Blade is going to go ahead and do that same thing through the Immortality Field. They will get Sweatpants, they will get the Real, and we'll see if they'll be able to get Blank. Sweatpants will be rezzed. However, it's going to cost Delirious their life as we move forward into this fight, and Sweatpants is just going to get him insta-eliminated anyway. Frozen Phoenix, as the last member alive, is going to get eliminated also, and it looks like Dark is going to attempt the Sigma ult, but be unable to get it.
Yeah, Bonesaw on this Genji was just harassing the backline with this Sombra again and again and again. The Everest definitely were just calling targets, diving in on that person. They were playing dive phenomenally, whereas Acid Rain was scrambling for a lot of those fights, just trying to find a consistent target to burn down. But since with the high speed that the Everest had, they just had a hard time keeping track of them. Just watching Bonesaw, you can see how fast he is moving and trying to just keep Acid Rain on their toes.
I would say that the biggest issue the Acid Rain has is they didn't have a full reset, really, anywhere after first point. They never were able to get all 6 members there. Somebody would get picked, and then sometimes Delirious would attempt the res, but then it would end up costing them their own life. And as Mercy, that's not necessarily what you're looking for, trading your life for somebody else's. So hopefully the Acid Rain will be able to do more with all 6 people on attack here, as Blank is going to go back to that Widowmaker that you first mentioned before this even started.
Yeah, now they really don't have to worry about Bonesaw on that Genji. Now swapping over to that Symmetra. It's definitely going to go for a much harder hold, but with the Mei as well, they're just maybe trying to go for all-out stall, throw down the 3 turrets, teleport right onto point, and just start brawling on the cart and just completely deny Acid Rain from pushing it at all, especially if they're going with a Sniper and Delirious on the Mercy with the Torb and Widow is definitely some interesting choices here. So I'm very curious how the Everest are going to combat this, especially with a Maywall right out the gate to just separate up the team from Acid Rain and the first elimination for Bonesaw.
Dark is being bullied on that Sigma, so you got to think maybe a swap to Reinhardt is in order, as they're going to be the first and only member to get eliminated before the rest push back into spawn.
Yeah, going up against the Mei who can just instantly wall you out of the spawn and just... It's the Boise State wall and maul. I mean, you cut them off, they can't retreat, they have to fight. Same thing just happened with Frozen Phoenix.
Dark is up there. The wall is going to go down. So Immortality Field is going to come out. Turret is going to get destroyed there. Nobody is actually going to end up getting eliminated from either side here, as Orisa's going to poke back out. Dark's going to follow them in. Frozen Phoenix, another Immortality Field, is going to come out for the side of the Acid Rain. Sweatpants dropping real low there, but will be unable to be eliminated. Simwall is going to come out. Both teams kind of playing ring around the wall. The Real is going to get the elimination on a Bonesaw, which you have to think is huge, as both teams just continue to try to pump damage into each other, trading Bonesaw for Sweatpants, Dark, and Frozen Phoenix, as Avian, Chums Fum, and Triplet all come in with eliminations. Diamond Dog's going to go off the edge of the map, but so is the Real, courtesy of Triplet here, and it looks like that's the end of the fight there for the Acid Range, even though it started out looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's the big risk of fighting right on that cliff is Triplet just came in with a great boop and took down 2 more members. Yeah, they have spawn advantage being right there, but they weren't getting the eliminations that they needed. Finally pushing the cart might disrupt the Everest, but there goes the Blizzard.
Pando and Avian are both going to be eliminated, so you have to think that this Blizzard isn't going to be able to get a ton of value here, as all the members except for the Real are going to stay alive here through that Blizzard.
Yeah, Bonesaw back on his signature Doomfist is also a huge worry I have for Acid Rain, because they don't have really the best comp to deal with the Doomfist, and Diamond Dog really just tanking those double dragons as he picks up the health pack. Very surprising that he survived through that, but Acid Rain getting a lot of cart distance here, so the Everest have a ton of time to regroup and play around the 3 ults that they have, whereas Acid Rain has their 4. So Acid Rain needs to start pressing Q for this next team fight in order to combat and try to force out the ults from the Everest so they can have the continued advantage.
They need to ult before the fight starts, and it looks like they're not doing that. And actually, the first ultimates that are going to come out are going to be the Amplification Matrix, as well as the Sound Barrier. Dark attempted to get some value off the Sigma ultimate there. Will be unable to find it as they're picked by the Baptiste. Delirious is going to be eliminated by Hanzo. Hanzo on the side of Blank is going to be eliminated by Bonesaw on that Doomfist, just like you were talking about. And the rest of the members of the Acid Rain are going to come quickly after that. And it looks like the Cole Cassidy's going to come out with the Mercy Pocket. They've been eliminated once by Bonesaw. They have decided they have had enough of that. And Bonesaw might have just their strategy a little bit.
I mean, he's definitely a fantastic Doomfist, so I think going up against Blank with a Pocket Mercy will be the fight that he needs. But in that previous fight, Acid Rain was so split. You saw Sweatpants on the other side of the map from the rest of his team, and Bonesaw going right in that back line.
That's 5 HP that Bonesaw lived with there, as Avian's going to get the elimination onto Delirious, and Bonesaw's going to go right back in and get the elimination onto Dark, of all people, the Sigma. The Real is also going to go down to Avian. Pando's going to go ahead and get a couple of eliminations there onto Frozen Phoenix, Blank, and Sweatpants there, and that's your Baptiste that just pulled off a triple.
I'm still questioning why Acid Rain has stuck to this Torb relentlessly and never swapped off of him. There he finally goes.
Maybe
he was just waiting for the Molten Core, but still didn't get the value you hope to see out of it. So I feel like they should have definitely swapped off of that much earlier to get the value that they needed from this Echo. But without no Pocket Mercy, it could be an uphill battle.
We have some other swaps coming out. Blank on the Salmon, Delirious on the Brig. The Real is going to go down to Bonesaw there, which is kind of expected of the end of Doomfist matchup. Frozen Phoenix is going to go ahead and get Avian. So that's an even trade, though the Acid Rain is still at a disadvantage without their main healer. Bonesaw is going to go in, see if they can do it. They're not going to be able to find any value, but they will ult to get out of there safely. Looks like they're coming for Delirious. Delirious hopefully has that 1v1. Sweatpants is going to go down. And it looks like with all the available members knocked off of the point, the Acid Rains are going to lose that without even touching first point.
Yeah, it was a bit of a C9 issue. They just put everything into fighting Bonesaw. It was a 1v3. You had the 2 tanks and the Brig off fighting him, and no one went to go touch cart. It was very questionable decisions being made on the side of Acid Rain, which leads the Everest to move forward in this Rumble.
Bonesaw was a 10 out of 10 distraction, and sometimes that's all you need to be. And the Esports Tower. Today's game is brought to you by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And after that last matchup, what are some quick takeaways you have from the Acid Rain to maybe go against the Cyclones?
Definitely having more of a concise team push. We saw them splitting up very early on. Sweatpants was always the last one to die on the other side of where the team fight was happening, especially on a Torb of all people was very questionable, as well as Dark being one of the most consistent people eliminated first.
Oh my
yes,
gosh,
he is your tank, but he was in a lot of like 1v2 situations, and you're like, where's the rest of your team? Like, what? The positioning would definitely be a huge thing that need to work on, but as being a new team, this might just be one of the learning curves that they have, so I hope to see them improve, especially going up against the Cyclones, who are another new team.
Absolutely. So they might be having some of the team issues that we get. And before we get to all of that, we actually do have, with the announcement of the Overwatch 2 beta, you have to make sure you're prepared. But don't worry, Apollo, the ET Overwatch head coach, has 3 things that you need to do before the Overwatch 2 beta comes out. So let's go ahead and check that out.
Hey everyone, my name is Apollo, and I'm the head Overwatch coach here at Esports Tower. The Overwatch 2 beta season is upon us. It's time to start asking, what can I do right now to prepare myself for Overwatch 2? Whether you want to prioritize making the most of time spent during beta periods or in preparation for the full release, there is no better time to ask yourself, what are you doing that's preventing you from improvement? Is it tilt? Are you playing the blame game? Is it a matter of the time you choose to invest or the lack thereof? What is it that's stopping you from getting better? Regardless of where you fall on this, I'd argue there are 3 main things you can be working on to help you solve these issues and prime yourself for accelerated growth in Overwatch 2.
Number 1 is your mentality. Your mentality is everything in a game like Overwatch. It's a skill just like your aim that takes conscious effort to develop. It doesn't just happen by putting more hours into the game. If you want to be successful in game and in life, your mentality is the most important thing to focus on. One question you can ask yourself is, did I care too much about this loss? If the answer is yes, try ending your day on a loss. Then ask yourself why it is you care so much about losing. In the majority of cases, caring too much comes from a good place, but we accept it as negative energy causing tilt instead of spinning it into fuel to make us better. Even in a loss, make a conscious choice to be making progress instead of blaming teammates. An easy example of this for me is in the Call of Duty franchise. One of the things I like in Call of Duty is that each new game title has a very linear progression to start off with. Everyone is grinding for objectives to max out weapon skins, which results in progress with every kill. So win or lose, you feel like progress is being made. This should be your same mentality in Overwatch. No, of course we aren't grinding away for cosmetics anymore, but the point is that wins and losses aren't ultimately what matters. You learning something from that win or loss is. So once you think through that, go back to these losses to see what you could have done differently. When you discover things to work on, make yourself a list, and then each time you load into a match, ask yourself, what will be my focus during this team fight, this map, or even this day? You'll find yourself ending each session feeling more confident and proud of the progress being made. Number 2 is positioning. Positioning has always been somewhat of a daunting idea to me, and if that's you too, it doesn't have to stay that way. Let's break it down into a few very simple things. Number 1, always have cover. IOStux has a great video talking about all things positioning, but one important thing he mentions is the 0.4 second rule. In essence, you need to be close enough to cover at all times to jump out of harm's way in a moment's notice. By doing this, you won't get caught out by high noons, diva bombs, or other line of sight ults. Practice always having a way out. Number 2, prioritize high ground. It is king in every single FPS game because it's space that has to be taken. If an enemy team decides to leave you alone, they will be severely punished for it. High ground allows you to control how and when you engage, meaning you get to choose exactly when you have the advantage to take the fight to them. Number 3 is effective range. Think about the hero you are playing and focus on what your optimal range is in comparison to what the enemy team is running. Give yourself the best opportunity to win matchups. This also means swapping your hero if you aren't syncing up with your team. For example, if your team is all running range heroes and bunkering down, Moira probably isn't the best option, even if she's your best hero, because you'd have to go in alone to get damage in order to replenish your healing resources. Choose heroes that synergize with your team so that you can position accordingly. The final point of focus to prepare for Overwatch 2 is timing and fight planning. If you are feeling hard stuck in a rank, I'd argue that it's probably not your aim and likely not your positioning. My guess is that it's your timing. First of all, let's talk about timing for when you engage. You and your team want to be in control when it comes to tempo. You always have the potential to choose how and when your team engages. As soon as each fight ends, you need to focus on resetting into good positions or plan the next rotation. Ult track the enemy team to help you decide which ults you want to use aggressively in the next fight. Planning ahead helps you reduce the amount of times your team gets caught off guard. I don't know how your team usually reacts, but in my experience, getting caught off guard usually results in everyone on the team ulting at the same time. Pre-planning your engagements will help your team live through more of the enemy team's aggression and allow your own team's aggression to be more effective because it's focused together instead of being scattered all over the map. Second is about timing your flanks. Flanks can single-handedly win or lose you team fights, and it solely depends on how good your timing is. If you show yourself too early and get caught out, your team is almost guaranteed to lose the fight. Too late, and you force your team into an unnecessary 5v6. Communicate with your team, or at the very least pay attention to their outlines through the wall to see when you should engage. Ideally, you wait until the engage is just beginning and 1 or 2 big cooldowns have been used from the enemy team. So for example, Sigma has no more grasp or Diva has no more boosters left, and that's when you show yourself and there's nothing the enemy team can do about it. You can outplay them far easier with timing instead of solely relying on your mechanics. In conclusion, once you've solidified in your mind that everything is a learning opportunity, start to question everything. Overwatch 2 is going to be filled with new heroes, new maps, and new game modes. Things that are known as universally true in Overwatch 1 might not be true anymore. Every player will need to rediscover what the best things to play in a new title will be. Start asking yourself why certain compositions work well together. Theorycraft new and wacky compositions that fundamentally do similar things to what you already know, because if you understand why things work, you'll more quickly be able to slot in new heroes to make compositions better in the context of Overwatch 2. So for now, don't be afraid to experiment and even die a lot. Learn new heroes, change your aim sensitivity, try a new role. Be patient with yourself during the learning process and allow yourself to take the time to focus on improvement for the sake of improvement. With that, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. May the ranked odds be ever in your favor, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you're in high school or even want to go pro, then you need to check out Esports Tower. Going at it alone can only get you so far. Our coaches work closely with players to motivate them, identify their strengths and weaknesses, and make sure they are playing at their best. By joining Esports Tower, you'll also receive exclusive opportunities to play in front of college recruiters, meet and greet collegiate players, and you might even get to meet some of your favorite influencers along the way. Use the link in the description for a 2-week free trial.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. We are broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You see our lovely production back there. This is week 2 of our spring Overwatch Rumble, and we have added 2 new teams into this week. And after a loss to the Everest in round 1, the Acid Rains will be going against the Cyclones, and those are our 2 new teams for round 2. And we will see who will come out on top of those. I am your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me to call all of the action is Brenner Bear Ladd. So, of these 2 new teams, what are going to be some very defining general things that will make one win over the other?
I mean, especially going up against the Everest, it's going to be the team play and what the team composition is and how quickly you can adapt to the enemy team. It's something the Everest have just been so dominating in, is they choose a team composition that you might not be ready for and then too slow to adapt to. And by then, the Everest have practically already had, Snowball going. They have the ultimates, they have the positioning, and it's just such an uphill battle that we've seen almost no teams be able to come back from that. So that's definitely something that I want to see from these teams coming out in this next match, especially since it's the debut for the Cyclones. I want to see them have that strong start or be super flexible and able to match Acid Rain.
And what tips do you have for managing the aggression that the Everests come out with? That will certainly be helpful here, too.
I would say definitely target priority is, they play around Bonesaw, they play around Diamond Dog, they play around those engage-heavy characters. So you want to stay tight together and be able to get 1 or 2 picks in that early fight and make sure you don't lose your main healer or your off-tank, because losing kind of those main figureheads of your team can really cost you a lot of time, and that was evident in that last match.
And before we get into the game, we want to take a moment to congratulate all of the Esports Tower Club members who have graduated from the clubs and have been offered scholarships all across the country. Over the last 3 months, Esports Tower Club members have received over $1.6 million in scholarship awards. These students have not only worked hard on their in-game play, but have worked hard academically and have earned these scholarship opportunities. We could not be more excited and proud to see all of the amazing opportunities these players are getting from Esports Tower. And just some more general tips that all teams can definitely take advantage of would be Doc's keys to the game. which, just as a reminder, in Overwatch, it's never take a fair fight, which means take fights in unexpected places when they're unprepared, and tempo, tempo, tempo. Doc's keys to the game are presented by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And again, this is week 2 of the Esports Tower Rumble, Spring Rumble. This is the ET Acid Rain versus the ET Cyclones, 2 of the new teams this week, trying to see who will face off against the Everest in round 3. Both of these teams have a lot to prove because they're both so new.
Yeah, and for this first map, we're going to, I believe, kicking it off on Ilios. So a fresh face for the control maps, which is definitely a welcome sight. It's not Lijiang Tower, and it's not Busan, which are the 2 that we have seen the most of. Even Nepal's been creeping up some more, so Ilios is the nice change of pace. But if we take a look at the team comps, both are running Pharmacy this time, but Acid Rain makes sure to bring out Blank on the Soldier to try to counteract it. So now it's going to be all eyes on Illusion to try to be that difference maker, because these 2 pharmacies is just going to be a battle of the skies.
Better Pharmacy wins, question mark? Blank will definitely be in there to contest both of the Pharmacies here, and Mango will drop weak there, but then get healed back up due to passive regen. It looks like Luki on the Sigma there is facing some challenging things as they're going to get knocked off into the side by Illusion Snow on the Doom Fist. And it does look like the Cyclones have the corner of point, and the Acid Rain have their own corner as we see Doom Fist go flying off the screen there. And bullying Luki, what is it with bullying Sigmas tonight here? They're looking like they're looking for that Mercy. They're going to jump onto the reel in the back line on that Baptiste. They will get the elimination as Mango gets the res. And you got to think that trade might not have necessarily been worth it, as now they are down their main healer. Illusions will be eliminated by Frozen Phoenix, however, and Blank will be eliminated by the Pharmacy on the side of the Cyclones. And so will Mango, and you got to think that puts a stop to the Acid Rain's Pharmacy there. And the Cyclones have the point at 15% here, and it looks like the rest of this is just cleanup.
Yeah, it seems Illusion now is the difference. They just had to commit so much just to take him down, and there it goes. The Pharah took down the Mercy. There goes the Pharah. It seems that the Cyclones have come back and showing what they've got, especially since their Sigma hasn't been targeted as heavily as Luca has. So have yet to see that Sigma take a fall, but once again, Battle of the Skies trying to focus down. But I think all eyes are going to be on Illusion just because they've just been uncontested in that background for so long. I also expect to see the Cyclones bring out that amplification matrix as they push onto point, because Acid Rain has nothing to answer it.
The barrage is going to pop up in the back line there after the elimination on Luki. Sweatpants is going to get the Holy Chub on that Ariza, but then they will get eliminated by C² there. Joe will also get eliminated by Frozen Phoenix, so both teams are down there. Far as BBQ is going to choose to res the Holy Chub there on the Ariza, so there is no Sky battle right now, as Fulcrum is going to go down to the reel on the Baptiste. Amplification Matrix is going to come out, and so because of that, Illusion and BBQ and the Holy Chub are all going to be eliminated there, and you got to think that's a point flip.
Yeah, sadly, right at the tail end, Lucky was just booped in, but Acid Rain really brought it back. They had a rough start to that team fight, but they regrouped, started getting those eliminations as they just grouped up together and just had that target priority focus that they needed going up against the Everest. They've brought it back, and the Cyclones are having to answer for it. But if you look at the percentage-wise, Cyclones really brought away from it, so they have a ton of time on the board, and now kicking things off with the Bongo.
Sweatpants is going to go down. Definitely not a good start to the fight here. Fulcrum is going to pop that Sigma ult, see who they can get. They will be able to get the reel on the Baptiste. And Mango will also go down, and you have to think that's almost a reset for the Acid Rain, as Blank is going to go down as well. And that was a pretty clean fight win off the heels of Fulcrum's Gravitic Flux.
Fulcrum showing everybody how it's done on the Sigma right now, seeing as they've just been target prioritized. Maybe that's why they just can pop off just like Fulcrum did. Now BBQ also having the Valkyrie online to keep his team alive for this next fight, whereas Acid Rain only has both tank ults. They don't really have anything to maintain. They do have the Gravitic Flux to set something up, but with Blank just now coming back for the Cole Cassidy, things aren't looking too good for them with the Bongo.
It does look like the Bongo is going to go down, courtesy of Joe there, as both teams set up. BBQ is going to get taken weak, and Sweatpants is going to just be taken outright by Joe. And then other Gravitic Flux is going to come down. Frozen Phoenix is going to go down. So is the Real. And you got to think, even as Illusion is eliminated, you got to think that's probably a fight win for the Cyclones here, as Joey is just doing cleanup, and Illusions is going to get res. They were the price. Blank is also going to go down, and Illusion's just going to go down off the map, because at this point they know the map's theirs.
I mean, losing one for the entire team is kind of a net gain for the Cyclones, I would say, going up against Acid Rain. Acid Rain brought it back for 1 or 2 team fights, but the Cyclones were just consistently applying pressure, pushing as the team. They had the full reset and then just followed right behind both the Pharmacy and Illusion on this Doomfist, whereas Acid Rain, when they did push together, they won, but they were just getting picked apart because they had so much, just too many target prioritizations. It was either Doomfist on your healers or Pharmacy winning the sky battles and just started raining rockets down. As soon as that bongo went down, Joe was like, all right, I'm killing that. Every single time. They had that target recognition, and he was feeling very safe in the skies going up against another Pharmacy. So you have to hope that Acid Rain, especially now with Blank returning to the Widow, going up against a Doomfist and a Cole Cassidy, can get the value he needs for his team to pull out a win here.
Blank is going to have to play very careful against that Doomfist as both teams are getting set up here. So far, we haven't seen any Widow snipes come out, even though most of the team isn't necessarily playing behind a Reinhardt or a Sigma Shield right now, most notably the Real back there on the C-Squared, excuse me, they're back there on the Baptiste will be taken low. Illusion is going to be purpled. The Immortality Field is going to go down, and Blank, hopefully at this point, is looking for some snipes as Sweatpants is looking to get those flanks. Blank is being terrorized in the background by Illusions on that Doomfist. Blank is going to get eliminated, and that's the first blood of this fight. And the Acid Rain is now down 1 as the rest of the fight commences, and
no one's yet to take the point. I mean, it's just been a brawl of Acid Rain occasionally jumps on it, but finally Cyclones will get it after losing Illusion, surprisingly.
Both teams were even when the Cyclones ended up taking the point there, and it looks like the Acid Rains are going to try to take that back immediately after 11% there. And 11% isn't bad to trade there as they get the elimination on a Frozen Phoenix, however, and a huge purple onto both of the Cyclones tanks might actually flip this favor in the Acid Rain. Even though they are down Frozen Phoenix, the Holy Chub is going to go down, but so is Mango, and that's not what we're looking for, as the Real is also going to go down to Joe there on the cast. And so it definitely looks like that fight is going to go the way of the Cyclones. They gave up 17%, but the point is theirs.
Yeah, as soon as they lost those healers, they just had to back right off, and they just need to go for the reset. Even Blank swapping over to the Sombra. You can hear the hack go on to the Rhine, but Sweatpants gets eliminated, already +1 in this fight.
And it does look like the Cyclones have some ultimates to use here if they choose to put them up. It looks like Fulcrum's trying to put himself in a good position to get the Shatter there, but all he's going to find in that room there on the right is Plank on the Sombra, which is not necessarily the best Shatter target.
Yeah, Acid Rain is just holding on to all 5 of their ults. They need to engage with something. Hopefully we can see Sweatpants go right into the backline, maybe throw the Pulse Bomb onto the Baptiste and force out that Immortality Field. Or he'll just die.
C-Squared is going to go down. That's terrible for your Baptiste to go down first to Blank there. And it looks like both teams are not using ultimates yet as the Holy Chub is also going to go down. And it looks like Sweatpants and Blank are going to be eliminated. That's no DPS and down 1 healer for the side of the Acid Rain there as Illusion now is going to get that elimination. Frozen Phoenix is using the Primal Monkey to see what they can do here on the point. Yeah, Fulcrum will go down to Mango. This looks like a very long, scrappy fight as the point is going to flip to the side of the Acid Rain there at 69 for Cyclones and now 23. Illusions now is going to go down to the Tracer, so will BBQ. Frozen Phoenix will go down to Joe, however, and C-Squared is back to heal their team.
Yeah, it's weird to think that whole fight started off with the Nano. Acid Rain looking very good and immediately just lost 3 members just like that as Joe takes down Blank. I mean, Cyclones just bring it back with this Amplification Matrix and force Acid Rain off the point.
And 71% and climbing, 42% for the Acid Rain. The Acid Rain are in a very uncomfortable position looking up at these ultimates.
Yeah, they're going to have to definitely play around this EMP if they want to be able to take the point back. Only having less than 20% remaining. You know Blank is looking for it.
Looking for it. Huge. Going to come out into 4 members of the Cyclones. Sweatpants will go down, but so will the Holy Chub. The Real and Blank also going down, leaving Acid Rain down 2, down 4 now in this fight here, as it's just Lukey on the Diva trying to see what they can do to get Joe on the Cole Cassidy there. Unfortunately, it will not be a lot as they're eliminated by Illusions now. And the Cyclones are going to go ahead and take Ilios round 1 there against the Acid Rain. But ultimately, it was a relatively close game.
Yeah, I mean, Acid Rain had some really good team fights, but sadly, the one person that was most feared from the Cyclones didn't hit that EMP, as we can see in this replay. Joe was just perfectly behind cover. He popped back around with the Deadeye and got a 2-piece with it, no less, on a Deadeye, which is very surprising. So huge props to them.
There's definitely a lot of supports getting picked first coming from both teams, and that's relatively to be expected. I mean, like, when you don't have the team dynamics down, you can't necessarily peel for your support, but part of that is also just individual support positioning that can keep you alive, and I think that that's going to be something big that either team will have to fix if they would like to win.
Yeah, so hopefully next map we can see a huge improvement for the Acid Rain of more consistent team fights win rather than like some random middle one and then never again, because they had another huge issue we saw was with their team comps going up against a Doomfist and Nicole Cassidy, and you're running a Widow as well with an Ana going up against a Doomfist. It was very questionable decisions, and they stuck on it for way too long. And finally, when they swapped over to the Sombra, they were able to get some picks along with that Tracer, but as soon as they got the pick, they had no team follow-up, they had no supports to help them, and then they quickly got eliminated. So they didn't have the sustainability to stay in the team fights. They had a good start to it. If they had maybe gone full dive, they could have just eliminated them before they needed to sustain, but sadly they weren't able to do so.
It does look like the Acid Rains are on attack here. It looks like they're running a sort of dive attack as Sweatpants is going to be taken very low with that Discord Orb. They just discovered that Soup on the Zenyatta exists and immediately backed off, as Dark is also going to be taken very weak by that Discord Orb.
Yeah, Sweatpants trying their best in the sky, but no Pocket Mercy is a huge uphill battle, especially because it's a literal uphill battle. They have the high ground advantage, and with Frozen Phoenix going in alone, he's going to fall.
They will be eliminated by the Law first with the help of that Zenyatta Discord Orb, which has just been so dominant for the Cyclones thus far. The Acid Rain is suffering from Soup on that Zenyatta. The hook will miss though on the Law there, and it looks like BBQ is kind of in a, it looks like Sigma's kind of in a rough place on their BBQ. Shadow Soul will be eliminated by Sweatpants. Frozen Phoenix will get the elimination on the Sunky.
Ones are bad.
And it definitely looks like no DPS on the side there. Soup is going to be eliminated by Sweatpants, and BBQ is also going to be eliminated by Frozen Phoenix, and Frozen Phoenix is going to go ahead and pick up C-Squared, which is great. Baptiste died last. Sweatpants is going to pick up the Law, and it looks like that is just a pretty clean fight win there for the Acid Rain, as they're going to take that point and look to set up on high ground for next.
Yeah, that was not even a minute, and they got first checkpoint. They just continued to push, whereas for the Cyclones, they never really got on the cart to defend it. I mean, they were just scrambling to rotate off the high ground and get resituated, and they just couldn't do it. It was just way too drawn out of a fight, so trying to take high ground once again when they don't have a ton of high ground heroes to capitalize on it. Yes, they have the Hanzo and the Cole Cassidy, but with the amplification matrix, this might be lost value.
And it looks like they will just wait out that amplification matrix, which is the correct decision here. You definitely don't want to walk into an amp if you don't have to. Nano is going to come out, but so is BBQ's Sigma Ultimate. Soup and the Law have both been purpled. Soup is going to get taken very weak, while Mango is going to get taken out. Soup is going to be taken out immediately after that. So is C-Squared and Shadow Skull, and that is the Cyclones are down 3 members here, down 4 now as the Acid Rain just keeps eliminating them. Sunky is going to get eliminated, and that's almost a complete team wipe there.
Yeah, Frozen Phoenix really having a field day on this Winston. He got nanoed and just went right on top of them, got a 2-piece from it, as right at the tail end, Dark does get eliminated. But this might be the second checkpoint unless Cyclones can at least touch it. You can see they're running to it, but they still get it.
They ran right onto that Ana, and you got to think that was scary. Soup is going to get eliminated, so are Mango and the Real
Both
there by
gone,
to the
yeah.
Law and BBQ, and the Law is also going to go ahead and pick up Frozen Phoenix. But the checkpoint does belong to the Acid Rain, so honestly, it feels like the Cyclones took that a little too late.
Yeah, too little, too late is definitely the name of what just happened there. But Acid Rain does have 4 ults, soon to be 5, with that Pulse Bomb coming online. So they're going to need to play around most likely the Duplicate or the Rally to engage right onto the Cyclones, where they only have Whole Hog. So hopefully the Cyclones at least utilize it and use it in this fight to try to counteract the 4 ults of Acid Rain. But they still have to get in the building.
Discord Orb is going to go on Frozen Phoenix as they dive in. It's going to switch over to Sweatpants on that Echo Rhine. They will be taken weak, have to hold shield. Sunky is going to be first blood there to blank, but the Diva Bomb's going to come out, find nothing. Pulse Bomb, however, is going to find BBQ. A C-Squared is going to get charged, feels bad, and Sweatpants is going to eliminate Soup as well, and it looks like that is just a clean wipe of the Cyclones as the Acid Rain set up to camp their spawn.
They missed the team kill by like 2 seconds as Sunky respawns, swapping over to that Reaper. So now Frozen Phoenix, he has to be a little scared going up against a Reaper. I mean, that is your counter, especially when you're on the indoors and they have spawn advantage. But, I mean, it's 1-to-1 for the ults here.
Huge Purple going to come out into Soup the Law and BBQ. Huge Immortality Field is going to come out onto everybody on the Cyclones from C-Squared. Rally is also going to come out.
4.
BBQ and Shadow Soul are going to get...
5.
And that looks like the team wipe there, with Frozen Phoenix being the last man standing off the back of a huge Immortality Field and a Rally that were popped as soon as they dove in.
I mean, Cyclones, when they finally have the spawn advantage and the just proximity advantage, get the team kill, showing Acid Rain how it's done, just not even giving them a second to respawn and not get that perfect voice line of the team kill. But you can see how far Tracer's spread apart. That's something you could possibly even collapse on as the remaining members are rotating through. But Cyclones also gave away a lot of that high ground and a great purple onto BBQ to kick things off.
Blank will be first blood, however, falling to Sunky on that Reaper, as both teams kind of like BBQ's going to get slept, but insta-woken up and purpled, and you got to think they're very, very weak at this point with 86 HP, 49. They will be taken down by the Real there. Shadow Soul will also be taken down by Sweatpants, and that is the Acid Rain up 2. Up 4 now with Sunky and Soup going down immediately after that. C-Squared up 5, and you got to think at this point, Dark is just trying to do what they can.
Oh, too late on that remake.
Terrible. Dark is going to get eliminated by the Diva Bomb. Frozen Phoenix has respawned, and this fight is flipping more in the Acid Rain favor as BBQ, Shadow Soul, and the Law are going to go down, but they're still going to end up getting the point.
I mean, Sweatpants on this Echo charged Duplicate twice on the 3rd checkpoint. They used it at the start of it and then got it at the tail end just to show how uncontested they were in the skies. And Cyclones really had to go for that close range brawl with, you know, the Reaper and the Cole Cassidy, so they couldn't focus on the Echo as much as they would like, especially because they had to deal with Frozen Phoenix and Dark constantly in their faces because they were utilizing the high ground again and again and again throughout this entire map. It's Dorado. You need to be able to have that verticality to answer any possible combination that they might bring out, and they just simply didn't for a lot of the times, and you can see how much that cost them. They lost the first 2 checkpoints way too quickly. They were scrambling just to try to contest that second one, and they just gave it up. So now Cyclones on attack, bringing out their own Echo and Soldier to try to answer Sweatpants. They're going to need to try to focus down the Real Evans because he's just been having a field day in the backline uncontested.
Ball Diva versus Monkey Diva. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of those tank lineups?
Frozen Phoenix can definitely leap up to that high ground more often than BBQ can with the grappling hook, because if he decides to use the slam down, that's immediately taking away from the high ground. Yes, it's more DPS, but with the heals from Mango and the Real Evan coming out versus Soup and C-Squared, I definitely have to favor the Winston because he can easily jump in, eliminate the Zenyatta, jump out, whereas Wrecking Ball is kind of more of hit and run, not get the elimination and then run.
Oh. The Law is going to be taken out of the mech immediately as they jump into 3 members. BBQ is also going to jump into those same 3, now 4 members, as the Discord Orb is going to come out onto Frozen Phoenix. It's going to fade. Frozen Phoenix is going to jump in the back line on that Zenyatta, see what they can do. Immortality Field comes out. The Law is seeing what they can do. In Baby Diva form, they will be unable to do a whole lot, but they get the mech. Sunky is down, but so is Frozen Phoenix, so that's even advantage to the Cyclones, actually, as this BBQ is going to roll around, see what he can find a whole lot of nothing there, as Sweatpants is going to get eliminated by the Law, just kind of off screen. And Baptiste is looking for a little bit of extra poke damage there, jumping up to the high ground, as BBQ and the rest of their team are going to dive into that Ana on the back. Dark is going to eliminate Shadow Soul, and this fight is feeling pretty spread out right now.
I mean, the card's been getting free distance this whole time as Acid Rain's just kind of been scrambling to regroup and have a concise push, but they're not even anywhere near the card.
Blank and Sunky are going to trade with one another. C-Squared is going to pick the elimination on Blank. Then Nano is going to come out and immediately get C-Squared. After that, Immortality Field is going to come down and be eliminated. Soup themselves is going to be eliminated. That is no heals for the side of the Cyclones, but the Law is going to eliminate Mango. The Real is the only healer in the game right now as BBQ is running around, see what they can do for the mines. And it looks like they're off card.
Yeah, finally a clean reset here, but no first checkpoint, so they haven't been able to match the veracity that Acid Rain came out for this first checkpoint. But if you look on the side of ults, Acid Rain's sitting pretty right now, and they're definitely going to play around this Primal Rage because they've done it every team fight, because Frozen Phoenix knows how to play this Winston better than anyone we have seen tonight. So now with BBQ still holding on to the mines, I would have hoped he would have used them by now and maybe engage with them.
And it looks like they might be setting up to do just that, as he's going to pile drive into the team, but he's not. Shadow Soul is going to get pulsed at bomb by Blank off screen, as Frozen Phoenix is going to get melted before he can even do the Primal. courtesy of Sunky, BBQ, and Soup, are also going to go down, leaving Acid Rain still at an advantage without their main tank. Blank is also going to go down to C squared there.
At least they're even.
Both teams are trying to trade some damage in that room, see what they can do. Sticky bombs are going to come out. Sunky is looking for that visor, will be unable to find it that fight. Probably going to use it to engage the next.
Yeah, he's going to be going up against Sweatpants with that duplicate, so it could just be Soldier v Soldier depending on who Sweatpants decides to duplicate, but huge burst damage going on to the Brig and going to kick things off with self-destruct instead.
BBQ is going to eliminate both Mango and Dark with their ultimate. That is no healers for the side of the Acid Rain, as the Reel is also going to go down. Sunky is going to go down as well. To Blank, Sweatpants is going to go down on the side of the Acid Rain. 2C squared on that Brig there. Huge purple is going to come out onto the enemy Tracer, and it looks like Blank and Frozen Phoenix will also be eliminated, courtesy of the Cyclones, who are probably going to get this point.
Yeah, I'm surprised Sweatpants actually hasn't swapped off of the Echo, because as soon as he popped that duplicate, the remaining members of the Cyclones just collapsed on him because he swapped over to the Brig. Yes, they did end up losing Sunky in the end, but now he's on the Genji. He got value out of the visor for the Soldier, so I definitely think Cyclones was a well-deserved fight for them getting that value. But now Acid Rain's, once again, going to have to play around this Nano. Maybe even Nano the Brig and then just immediately charge the rally and go right into them would be a great play to see.
They're trying to dive onto that high ground there. That will be unsuccessful in their attempts. Sweatpants is going to be taken very weak. Shadow Soul will be the Echo that's eliminated, however, by Blank. C squared will also go down. That is the Cyclones down 3 now, as Soup is at no healing down 4. And it looks like even though they get a couple of extra inches of cart push, they lost the fight.
Yeah, I mean, BBQ is probably the one person you didn't want sitting on cart that entire time as your main tank. Yeah, you got a few extra feet, but Acid Rain just cleaned up the rest of your team. Now they do finally respawn and need to contest this high ground. BBQ just hasn't been able to do so yet. Looking for the pick as Sunky's just spraying damage and finally going to engage with the Nano, but BBQ's just chilling on the ground. He can't do anything with it.
BBQ's trying to get up there. They will miss the jump, but they will be able to find the up with the pile driver. Sunky is going to go down, however, and it looks like Shadow Soul is also not in the fight, as well as the Law is going to face off with Dark there in the corner. BBQ is going to get eliminated pretty quickly. And it looks like C squared is chasing down your Echo. Sweatpants in the back line there. And Soup is also going to go down. Kind of a stiff price to play for the Cyclones.
Yeah, they did not have a game plan going into that team fight. They just threw the Nano on the Wrecking Ball and said, all right, go have fun. And then he just
couldn't get up there.
He had no plan. Like, okay, I guess I'll just go. The whole time, Sweatpants was just on Ana. Just having a field day, just harassing or preventing all the healing.
And it does look like BBQ is going to dive up there. They will be unsuccessful in their solo dive. And at this point, you got to think maybe there's a different place they can dive to get up there, as the Nano is going to come out onto Frozen Phoenix. And they're going to dive into the back lane. They will be able to eliminate C squared there, as the duplicate is going to come out onto Diva. They will be slept. Dark is going to get Shadow Soul. And that is the Cyclones down 4 there, as Sunky is taken down. And it is just the tanks at this point.
Yeah, baby Diva, get that elimination into 5 HP. And there she goes. But Cyclones do have the 4 ults. Make that 5, sorry. Hey, so they can definitely press Q. They just need to press Q. It's been such an issue for them, or having a real game plan going into this, it seems, because BBQ tries to make something happen but has no follow-up, or even Shadow Soul might come in with this duplicate, get an elimination, but has no team follow-up, and then he'll get eliminated. So now with Mango kicking things off with the rally, Acid Rain have a game plan.
And the Cyclones have the Echo onto the Monkey, and Sweatpants is going to go in, see what they can get on Soup. The Law is going to get a huge double bomb. C squared will get eliminated in their own bomb, leaving both teams relatively even, down Brig and Anana. Now the Cyclones are down 1, Acid Rain's up 1, as Blank is going to get the elimination on the Sunky. Blank's been an absolute menace on that Tracer, as Dark is going to get demeched, and Blank and Dark are both going to get eliminated by the tanks of the Cyclones here. And with this being last fight, this is not looking very good, as C squared is going to come back onto the Lucio, see what they can do, see what healing and speed they can get out. Sweatpants is going to go down, as well as Frozen Phoenix. And the Cyclones actually have a push here. We've got to think we got to get 3 on cart, see what we can do.
Yeah, very surprising that they brought it back. The tank players for the Cyclones really just being the backbone and carrying the team as hard as they can. Really the last 2 survivors, whereas all 4 supports at the start of that fight got eliminated by the Divas. So it's really going to be all eyes on who can keep their supports alive.
And Sungi's not going to be kept alive as Frozen Phoenix is going to get that elimination. Suba is also going to go down as well as C Squared, and that is the Cyclones down 3. So a valiant overall attempt, but you got to think that they're probably out of it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they won one team fight, got the push going, and had nothing to follow it up, whereas Acid Rain just brought it right back in 2 seconds and said, all right, Soup, you're going to try to contest the cart and run into our Diva's face. Free elimination.
And you want to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers? Then join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights, and with our featured rumbles, recruiters are taking notice too. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. Check them out at esportstower.com. What is the best way to approach that high ground? Because clearly what we just saw wasn't working.
I mean, obvious answer is maybe not a wrecking ball because it cost him a huge issue. BBQ was doing very well on the wrecking ball. He just did not have the team to follow it up. The Echo was not getting the value she needed. She probably needed the Pocket Mercy because Ana being stuck on the ground consistently was just getting targeted by the enemy Echo. So then the Brig would have to retreat to save her. But now you have no heals in the team fight, which means the tanks were getting eliminated or your DPS was, as well as with Sunky going up against a Tracer. The Tracer wins that battle every time unless the soldier's lucky with a pair of rockets. I mean, it was a huge victory for the Cyclones going up against, or Acid Rain going up against the Cyclones for that first map. So now going over to Blizzard World, it might have been too little too late now bringing out the Pharmacy. This is something we should have seen on the previous map of Dorado. I mean, this is something that this team really needed to take command of the skies. We saw them do it on Ilios. Why not repeat it on Dorado with an Echo Mercy? The fact that no Mercy was ever brought out really boggles my mind, so I'm very happy to see it here, but these teams really like going for these mirror matches, whereas the Cyclones just really don't want to go for a Mercy at all. So I expect to see the Acid Rains come out with a win here, at least for this first team fight, because they have that added pressure of they're going to win the Sky game, which means they're going to have to try to worry about, well, where is safe, because the Sky is owned by Acid Rain with this Pharmacy.
BBQ is going to be taken very weak, as Joe is also going to be taken weak. Both of them are taking a significant amount of poke damage as they just kind of do their pharma thing up in the air there with the Echo just down below them. Blank is going to be the first elimination on the side of Cyclones. They have no res to do anything about that. Sweatpants is going to be taken low, but they will take Joe out, and the Real will also take BBQ out. Take the Far out, you take the Mercy out, and you got to think that's
Pharmacy
the end of that
went
fight.
Indoors?
No, Sweatpants is going to take out C Squared. Pharmacy went down in that little room, and it seems to have spelled their doom as Sweatpants is going to chase down Illusions, who is going to get eliminated there. Kind of the price to pay for the Acid Rain.
Yeah, BBQ is now also on the support role, no longer on the tank role, so some big swaps coming for Acid Rain have not been making a huge difference here, as first team fight was very questionable. I mean, as a Pharmacy, you go indoors and into melee range with the enemy team as a Pharmacy?
With the Echo Beam scary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely curious how they will continue going forward. They already have the Valkyrie built up.
Blank is going to get the elimination onto Joe.
That's the Pharmacy down. It seems that Acid Rain really have the target prioritization down on Joe, and Joe just hasn't been able to capitalize. And BBQ will force out the res, but they have yet to really capitalize on it. Ooh,
that was a
nice shot.
Blank is going to take down Illusions, and they're going to set BBQ on fire there and actually almost be able to tank out BBQ unless that Ana healing comes through. They will be able to take out Joe, and Frozen Phoenix will finish what they started with BBQ. And if there is no healing and there is no anything, as Fulcrum is also going to go down, and the Holy Chubb is just running out his Diva, trying to see if they can maybe prevent a little bit more ult charge on the side of the Acid Rain.
Yeah, Cyclones really haven't had a concise push with a target in mind. Usually on Ilios, we saw Joe, as soon as the bongo came out, said, all right, that's my target, I'm going for it. And so far, he hasn't even been able to make it past the shield to get to the bongo because he's just been wall and mauled every time of just throw up the shield, take him down. So now, still staying on the ground is maybe a safer bet to stay behind the line, but you're not Soldier 76.
Amplification Makers is going to take Joe down to 22 HP there before the fight even begins. They're looking around for the sneaky barrage. They definitely want it. They're going to go ahead and get Blank. We'll see if they're able to get anybody else. Frozen Phoenix is going to be eliminated off screen by Fulcrum, and you gotta think this might be the acid range giving it up here, as the Real is also going to go down, as Luki and Mango are as well. Sweatpants is gonna questionable dupe there. Bob's also going to come out, and you got to think at this point they probably had it won and didn't necessarily need the Bob, but that is going to be point for the Cyclones.
Yeah, definitely well-deserved point. Quickly swapping off of the Ashe after bringing out the Bob is the smart choice, but over to the Widow dealing with an Echo, and an Ashe should be an interesting matchup. This break for Acid Rain has not been getting the value you want to see, whereas a break on the side of the Cyclones would do very well going up against this team comp that the Acid Rain have been bringing out. Making sure to take down the as well, but even the rock from over the Sergeant Hammer is just trying to get any poke damage. He's holding on to this Gratific Clutch, so hopefully Luki throws it out, but instead, Blink's going to throw out the Bob.
And we do have a complete swap on the side of the Cyclones with Illusions on Widow and Joe on Cassidy. BBQ is going to eliminate the Bob, and Holy Chubb is going to eliminate Orisa with the bomb. The Real is also going to go down, so that is the Acid Rain's down 2 just in this fight to begin with, and they are falling back, trying to prevent any other members from being eliminated.
Yeah, they lost their main tank and main heals back to back, and now Blank bringing it back by taking down Illusion. Not really a huge advantage because it is a Widow of all people, but with how low the Holy Chubb is, they could swing this fight and take the cart back. They're definitely trying to, but they need to get in this Vertific Flux just like that.
And it looks like Luki's going to try to get some value on the backline. They will eliminate C-Squared. BBQ will also come out. Joe and Fulcrum. That is the Cyclones down 4. And you got to think the 2 remaining members are going to fall pretty easily, as Illusions is going to get Sweatpants, though. Sweatpants is the price.
I mean, I'll take that trade any day. I mean, that's practically a team kill for Acid Rain, and you lose one person? That's fair trade. And Sweatpants, of all people, who can come back pretty much faster than anyone else on the team with their fly. Perfect. Blink even getting some early poke with the Dynamite, charging up Bob number 2 coming in here. Acid Rain looking very good for this next team fight. They're just going to have to watch out for the shadow that they have to have called out that Fulcrum is looking for, and now even bringing out the Bongo might prevent it.
Bongo's going to come down. Fulcrum is going to drop on the point, see what they can do there. The rest of his team is also going to drop and rotate. C-Squared is going to be taken down. Now a good start.
Yeah, main heals so early.
Sweatpants is the trade, though, as Joe's going to go ahead and take them out. Both teams down 1. Advantage still to the Acid Rain because of Mania.
Yeah, you know Fulcrum's looking for this shadow. He just needs to burn down that Orisa shield, and then he'll go for it, but
Joe's going to go down as well as Bob and Blank themselves, and Shatter's going to come out, but right in front of the Amplification Matrix, not going to live. The Real is going to get headshot right after Blank. Illusion's definitely putting in some work here on the Widowmaker as the rest of the teams kind of collapse, and it looks like C-Squared and Blank, or the Real and Blank, are the ones using that Amplification Matrix there, as the Holy Chubb is going to get taken down, as well as Illusion's now at the hands of Luki on that Sigma, and C-Squared will be staggered. Just as Fulcrum and BBQ come out. BBQ, that's another stagger.
yeah, it really seems it's an issue for the Cyclones of too little, too late. They had the Shatter, but shattered when he had about 5 HP in front of an Amplification Matrix. Then they threw out their own Amplification Matrix, but nobody hold the front line, so they just got rolled over while having it, and were also shooting into double barriers, so they were getting no damage done. Now starting to fight with a sound barrier, and finally a +1.
They want the sneaky Deadeye.
I mean, it might pay off, except for no mortality.
BBQ is going to get eliminated, as well as the Immortality Field. Deadeye does not get a ton of value, but neither did the Echo Shatter there, except getting the elimination on the Fulcrum. Mango will also go down here, but Joe and Illusions and Holy Chubb and the Acid Rain, man, Mango was the price, but the Acid Rains are going to go ahead and take that fight and stop it from going to second point.
And here I thought the Brig was not doing a whole lot, but the rest of his team just popping off. And you could see every time Sweatpants was just like, oh, there's Illusion. Here's a right click. All right, you're not a problem anymore. It was just beautifully played. And also just the duplicate onto the Reinhardt, showing how the shatter is done. Look, the right click, not even worried about it. Gets the elimination, turns around, and goes straight for the Baby Diva. Acid Rain has that target prioritization of, there's a Baby Diva behind the cart. And the Widow's not a problem. They're not touching the cart. Let's get the elimination and win the round. So Acid Rain came back with a fury.
But this is also still doable for the Cyclones on defense. They're not getting point 2. Around that high ground is a place where a lot of teams get stopped, and so it's definitely doable, even if you lose first point, to still defend that second point.
Really, the Cyclones lost so much time just getting the first control point. I mean, they had such a rough start trying to get past, whereas Acid Rain held them for much longer than they should have. And this time, no Ashe, no Pharah, no Mercy, only the one Echo. It seems that the Cyclones want to go for, you know, a hard, sustained fight on the point, whereas Acid Rain might just poke them apart from a distance, with both the Tracer being able to dash in, dash out, and Sweatpants going to be uncontested in the sky. All the pressure is going to be on Illusion now and C-Squared to try to win the skies when they have no presence up there. So
and holding this first high ground is a good start.
Yeah, for sure. It already aligns you with the sidelines of where the Echo might be, but Frozen Phoenix back on this Winston, as well as Lukey on the D.Va, can immediately just knock you off of that high ground. So it's going to be about the positioning of where Fulcrum is, and already just backing off before even the fight engagement. It's definitely interesting. Maybe just going to go for a wall and maul here with this Mei. So you want to watch to see where they place this wall. Hopefully in a good spot to at least pick 1 or 2 targets. They see the rotations, but Acid Rain is very split right now, with Blank following.
It's going to be the first blood there onto Illusions now, probably through a flash headshot. Wall's going to come out, so is the purple. Mei block going to cut down, keep Joe in the fight. They're going to spam, see what they can get with some icicles there. D.Va's going to go ahead and dive in for the side of the Acid Rain. Lukey will be taken out of mech there and almost outright eliminated, but Mango and Lukey will fall there. And you got to think that's 2 members of the Acid Rain. Now would be the time for the Cyclones to push. And they're definitely going to do just that, as Joe is going to get the freeze and the elimination onto the real Ana there. And then they're going to block immediately after that to save themselves. Frozen Phoenix is going to fall pretty quickly after that. And that is a first fight win for the Cyclones.
Yeah, Acid Rain definitely had the foundations of a good team fight there, but quickly lost it with how split they got. Some took the high ground, some were in the low ground brawling, some were not even pushed up. So then Cyclones quickly turned, won the low ground fight, and then high ground just didn't have the number, so they had to retreat off of it and got cut off in the rotation. So now it seems Acid Rain just once again prevents the high ground, pushing right up. I expect the wombo combo of the Nano Primal Rage to come out for them to try to win this fight, but losing Sweatpants so early might not make that happen.
Sweatpants getting picked early. You never want to Primal Rage when you're Nanos. Just doing the damage with the Tesla Cannon is usually better, as the Blizzard is going to come out. The Real and Mango are going to get eliminated for the side of the Frozen Phoenix is also going to see what they can do, but at this point it's too little too late. DVQ will go down. That is the price for the Cyclones to pay, but at this point the fight is over for the Acid Rain's second push.
Yeah, even eating that pulse bomb for the Holy Chub is just that much more gained value. And look how many ults the Cyclones have just built up and just haven't needed to use against Acid Rain, whereas Acid Rain has been using ults as quickly as they get them and just haven't gotten the value. As you mentioned, pairing both the Primal Rage and the Nano is not a ton of gained value, because of you want the damage versus the sustainability, and you have 1,000 health, so you don't really need the damage reduction either.
This fight is going to start with the D.Va Bomb there. It will be unable to find any way to Holy Choi, but is going to remech there. Echo Stickies are going to come out, but no eliminations yet. Echo Dupe onto the Reinhardt will be immediately taken out, as Mango and Frozen Phoenix are eliminated. And at this point, the Acid Rain is just getting out-brawled in the room, as Sweatpants is also going to go down there, and the Real and Blank and Lukey are all going to fall immediately after that. Acid Rain is not a brawl comp. That is their problem.
Yeah, they keep going indoors, whereas you're going up against a Ryan and a Mei and a Cole Cassidy. Why? You win that fight if you simply just didn't do that. You can poke them down a lot of the times if you're able to take down the Real or C-Squared, sorry, on the Baptiste. So if you're able to get the supports, but they're just playing so tightly together, they know how to brawl here. It's almost like we're playing King's Row at this point.
Both Mei walls are going to come out, the Blizzard's going to come out, as well as the Immortality Field. C-Squared's going to jump into that, jump into the D.Va Bomb. The Real, Frozen Phoenix, Sweatpants, and Blank are going to be taken down immediately in that brawl in that room. The Cyclones, they win in the brawl, and the Acid Rain keeps giving it to them. And at this point, they just have a desperate touch with 10 seconds remaining on the clock.
Acid Rain just can't decide on a team comp because they're changing it up again. And already losing Mango so early on is down to support. It's just trickling in and pray something happens.
And Sweatpants is going to get eliminated. At this point, Acid Rain is just throwing bodies on the point as Blank on the Tracer is going to come. The Real on Moira is going to get eliminated. Fulcrum is going to drop that Shatter. Will miss the ball, however, but will get the elimination onto Blank. Will get the pin onto the Luki Diva. Frozen Phoenix will get eliminated as well. And at this point, we got to just clean Mango back up again, and that is it for the Acid Rain's push.
Acid Rain just couldn't decide on a strategy where to push, who was the target. I don't know if it was a communication issue or what really happened there, but I mean, it'll be a win for the Cyclones, and I think well-deserved for them for sure. I mean, they had a rough start, but brought it back again and again, so huge props to them. But now taking on the Everest, have to be a little bit worried for the Cyclones after that, of how close it was against Acid Rain and how dominating performance the Everest had against Acid Rain. Cyclones are going to have a very hard time here.
And other maps were definitely closer than Blizzard World. Blizzard World, the problem that the Acid Rain kept running into is they ran into the Brawl corridor without a Brawl comp, walking into a hard Brawl comp, and they did that for 4 minutes. And that was probably the biggest issue that they had there. In addition, because just as you mentioned earlier, they were trying to fight the Sky Battle, except you don't fight the Sky Battle in the room. You need to, or if something's not working, you got to try other things instead of just hitting your face against the wall. What are some things you would have liked to have seen that are different strategies?
I mean, the return of the Ashe, I think, would have been a really smart choice because you could see how well they defended with it for a very long time, especially
Absolutely.
against the anti-air. So you think, okay, why not try it on attack, which did end up working for them as well, but they just didn't do it at all. So it's very interesting. Why go? So they stuck with their initial comp. They had the Brig and everything. They had the Echo, or was it Pharmacy, and then they stuck to the ground. So it wasn't even a Sky Battle when you had that utility that you weren't utilizing. Then you try to mirror match and get slaughtered because they have ults, whereas you just swapped. And then you swap again, but you're out of time. So
Absolutely.
it was definitely too little too late, and not having just, we need to commit to something, build up ults, and then push with our ults, rather than, all right, we have 2 ults, let's go and use them, but they don't work well together.
And before we get to our next matchup, which will end up being the Everest versus the Cyclones, we are going to throw it to a break.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Hello and welcome back to this broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Overwatch. We are broadcasting live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. You see our lovely production there in the back. One final match left in the night in our Week 2 Spring Rumble. Both the Cyclones and the Everest took down the Acid Rain to set up this showdown here for our grand finals. And now it's a best of 5, and we'll see if the Cyclones can climb the mountain that is the Everest, that have managed to beat out every other team we've seen so far. I'm your host, Colby D'Angelo Alloway, and joining me to call all of the action is Brenner Bear Ladd. What's it going to take for the Cyclones to take out the Everest? We always ask that because nobody's done it yet.
And it's going to come down to the same answer again and again, which is it's going to be the team play. And because the Everest have probably the best individual skill we have seen in this Rumble. We can never highlight enough Bonesaw on his DPS play, as well as Diamond Dog on the tank. Those two work so well together whenever it's, Ball and Genji on Junkertown. They were just uncontested for so long, picking a target. That person got eliminated. They get out. Free team fight win for them.
Yep.
So it's really going to come down to if you get an elimination onto one of those, ideally both of them, that swings the fight in your favor because then you're +2. So it's going to be have the right target prioritization, be able to have a flexible team comp, which has been a huge crux of pretty much all of these teams so far, of just we have this team comp, this is ours. We don't change it. It's like, it's okay to change it and try something new. It's other things work other than this one thing. Especially if you have ults. It's okay to sometimes give up an ult if you can win a battle, have that counter. So I really hope we see that coming out from the Cyclones going up against the Everest, because the Everest are sitting pretty in that #1 spot.
Eliminate Bonesaw, win game? Question mark? Question mark? Eliminate Bonesaw, win game. And the Everest currently are the first, with the Cyclone second, the Acid Rain in the third place slot of the Week 2 Spring Rumble. And some general tips that will help all of these teams out tonight are Doc's keys to the game, which in Overwatch is to never take a fair fight. And that means take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared, and tempo, tempo, tempo. And Doc's keys to the game are presented today by the Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And this is the Everest versus the Cyclones. We'll be able to see if the Cyclones can climb this mountain, do what nobody has done before. Popping out with our first map on Control, Busan. Walk me through the strategy here on Busan Mecha Base.
I mean, yeah, with it being Mecha Base, hopefully we don't see the return of Pharmacy like we saw on the indoor of Lijiang Tower. But, I mean, it worked out for them last time. But for Mecha Base, it's really going to try to be who wins the high ground, then goes to the point. I mean, it's very rarely go to the point immediately, and especially with the Sim Brawl comp that the Everest are bringing out, I expect them to get a clean win here going up against the more stereotypical wall and maul team of the Cyclones with this Mei. With both walls unable to get an elimination instead of the immortality.
Panda Squad is going to eliminate Soup, as they will also eliminate BBQ there, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and win that brawl there. Panda Squad just killed 4 or 5 members of the enemy teams on the Cyclones there, and you got to think, that's Symmetra's a problem there in that brawl. Both teams coming out with it, and Symmetra just proved to be the better brawl hero over the Cole Cassidy because everything else was a mirror here.
I mean, yeah, clear reason why. The higher damage output, just able to hold left click and, Hold left.
Wall's going to come out. Wall's going to come out. Reinhardt's going to go back in the room. The other Wall's going to come out and get both Shadow Soul and Squeeze C squared, and that is down both supports. Diamond Dog will be the price, but the rest of the Everest are still pushing this. And it looks like they will get the full team kill there, as that's going to pop up there, Soup being the last member standing.
I mean, the fact that you only lost Diamond Dog and now he has the Shatter built up is exactly what you want, because he could just come back renewed with the Shatter and just say, all right, we wait for you to come in exactly
Wall
like
comes out.
that.
Wall's off of both of their tanks. Shatter's going to come down. The Wall will also come down. Neither Shatter's going to get a ton of value there, as the Reinhardt BBQ is going to be taken very low, as that Immortality Field from C squared is going to come out. The Wall sitting at 100 charge. Running around, going to see what they can get. Going to destroy that teleporter, as Diamond Dog is going to get eliminated. But the fight is even, because BBQ is also going to be eliminated. The Law is chasing you down. Blizzard's going to come out, see what they can do. And it will go on to almost 3 members of the Cyclones there, as Illusion, Shadow, C squared, Soup, and the Law are all going to fall immediately after that. But the Law was able to charge grab.
Everest played very much like our very own Boise State, where they'll be down their front line and still not out of the fight because they just continue to push forward. Avian on this Mei is disgusting, followed by Panda Squad. These two DPS players are just having too much of a field day, whereas the Cyclones need to start pressing Q, and the Blizzard is a great way to start. Except they got E.
We'll get the elimination onto BBQ. Panda Squad will go down, so maybe that's about. But Illusions now, the Law and C squared will all fall immediately after that, as well as Soup getting booed. And oh my gosh, and that was 100-0, and certainly felt like it.
Chamas Bum ate 2 ults in a single team fight. He ate the Blizzard and the grab.
Chamas Fum had DM pointed at the important members of the team, and you got to think that's almost a fight carry right there, because either one of those ultimates was enough to win them that fight, and they weren't able to get either off because Chamas Fum is hungry.
I mean, he's having a nom-nom day if I've ever seen one, but you would think playing as the Mei or the Zarya, the one person you're trying to avoid is the D.Va, and yet you still are throwing your ults out, not at your feet, but throwing them out. So then the D.Va says, oh, there's my target. I'll wait while it's flying through the air to eat it, rather than, oh, they're going to throw it at the ground. Let me stand on top of them. It's definitely going to be those kind of mind games, and the Everest came out on top there because the Cyclones just... We don't know. They just didn't acknowledge the D.Va, but a great
shot by Avian on the Shadow Soul there. And with no one to res and nothing in sight there, they just have the Ana healing. And C squared going to be taken very weak, as Panda Squad is just going to be taken out. C squared will also be taken out. Both balls getting value for their team, as the Law is going to get demexed by Chamas Fum and just outright eliminated in the Battle of the Divas. Illusion is also going to be eliminated by Triplet there on the Zenyatta, and that first point is going to go over to the Everests.
Very well deserved. I mean, you knew they had the Widow, and the Break still continued to walk out without even a shield up. So that death was kind of on her for that, especially because the D.Va just took a bullet to the face and hopefully said, oh, by the way, they have a Widow. And then Break was just like, huh, let me check for myself, and face check it. And she gets eliminated first again.
By Panda Squad, and who is immediately going to follow up onto Soup and then get out. The Law is going to peel back for their Ana C squared. Very, very weak. Illusion's going to get eliminated on that Widowmaker by Diamond Dog, and Soup is going to swap over to that Cole Cassidy and maybe do something about Panda Squad on that Tracer there, as C squared is going to be healed, but the Cyclones are out of the fight.
I mean, Widow v. Widow, especially when this decision from Illusion now, maybe he'll pop off and get a 2-piecer. That's what we hope to see, but with the Cyclones only having Nano online, going up against wall hacks and Transcendence with mines and Pulse Bomb close behind, they need to have that target priority of, all right, who do we focus down? And it should be the Tracer to deny that Pulse Bomb, or the Law's just going to have to eat it.
Illusion's going to get the double elimination onto both of the Everest DPS. Headshots no less, and then immediately be eliminated by Diamond Dog, putting the Everest down 1. And the Cyclones are going to try to cap that point 1-1 with 72 and ticking up for the Everest here.
Yeah, it did force out the Nano at least, but
BBQ is going to go down. Diamond Dog is also going to go down, finally flipping the point. 72 to now 3% and climbing for the Cyclones here, as they have 4 members alive on that point there. Brig is looking to not get shot in the head there by Illusions camping that window. Chuma's Fum is thinking about using the Diva Bomb maybe as we set up in between these two fights.
Yeah, it's a great way to engage, but now you want to play maybe a little bit slower because they do have wall hacks and can see it. But with how far they're backing off, guys, you have to hold the point, not just give it up.
Pretty big bomb by Chuma's Fum there, putting the enemy team immediately up to now 3, which Illusion's now going down, and the Law is going to go down immediately after that. Point is flipped, 84 and ticking to the Cyclones 26, and you gotta think they're running into last fight territory here.
Yeah, this should be last fight, especially since BBQ does have mines. That's what he needs to engage with right onto point, followed by Law. But with only 3% remaining, no members getting close, and Diamond Dog can just harass them. Cyclones throw first map because they just C9'd right off point. They had wall hacks. They saw that they were coming at them and was just like, all right, you can have it.
Chuma's Fum is scary on that Diva Bomb there, it would appear, on the Busan first map there. And we do still have a couple of maps after this of the Everest versus the Cyclone. This next map is Junkertown, and it looks like Panda Squad is now on the Widowmaker, and Bonesaw's back in on the Genji. So Illusions now really needs to watch out on that Widowmaker as Joe's going to pull up on the Ashe. So this seems like it will very much be a battle of the snipers map, just like you were talking about.
I hope it is, but with Bonesaw on the Genji, I don't think it will be for very long. I mean, unless Joe on this Ashe can just constantly have Dynamite on Bonesaw, Bonesaw's going to be harassing them again and again and again. On top of Diamond Dog, whereas the Cyclones are sticking to that Sigma Roadhog against a Diva Wrecking Ball. It's definitely some interesting calls here. I'm very curious how this first fight might go. Hopefully we see an elimination onto Bonesaw, as he is kind of the priority target. Sniper battle's already kicking off, but barely missed that shot by shooting just barely to the right. Need to start pushing the car and taking this high ground. But
sees the Widowmaker there. They both know where the other's at. Just waiting for that peek there. Illusions now is going to miss the shot, but also...
Ooh.
And then Bonesaw's going to come for them there. I know where you're at. I'm going to come to get you.
Yeah, he wasn't scouted out. He was behind that roof on the close right side. Now two more for him.
2 eliminations are going to go down onto Bonesaw. 3 with the elimination onto Fulcrum now here as that is the end of the fight.
I mean, Bonesaw is...
They're coming for Ashe. He's coming for you, Joe.
This is why you swap off the snipers. I mean, it's a Genji. You want to have a Cole Cassidy or maybe even a Winston to just deal with him at this point because he's just been such a nuisance for you.
Sneaky.
Yes.
Gonna dodge the hook and be able to get out of there by dashing through. Illusion is going to go down to Panda Squad. Panda
do it again.
Winning the first battle of the Widowmakers here as Bonesaw is in on their back line, and Not Doomfist is going to go ahead and eliminate Fulcrum. The Discord Orb is on BBQ there on the brick. Bonesaw is going to be taken weak, but we'll get an Orb of Harmony there from Pando, who is currently trying to bully the Sigma, but will end up getting bullied himself by getting popped by Illusion on the Widowmaker there. And BBQ will go down to Bonesaw, and it feels like this is a series of scrappy fights rather than one team fight.
I mean, they're just never going to let Illusion leave his spawn because Diamond Dog's completely uncontested, just harassing the snipers. Finally, Chuma's Fum is demaxed, and they lose main heals, but they already committed 2 ults, soon to be 3.
Losing Not Doomfist is actually huge for the side of the Everest here. The Cyclones might be able to push based on that.
I mean, Diamond Dog's just looking for an opening with Bonesaw, who goes immediately in. There's one.
They will get Joe. Diamond Dog's going to try to help him get that C-squared on the Baptiste. Baptiste will be taken weak, but will live, even with the Discord Orb there, as Illusion is going to take out Panda Squad in the Battle of the Widowmaker. Bonesaw is going to get taken out by Fulcrum themselves. The Amplification Maker is going to come out as both teams pull up. Chuma's Fum, you got to think, not peek that, as they're going to get hooked and eliminated immediately after that. Fulcrum almost got Baby Diva there, as BBQ is going to eliminate Diamond Dog.
I mean, as soon as Cyclones take down the 2 DPS of the Everest, they win the team fight and can continue pushing. So that they know that should be their win condition. Not even the main heals. It needs to be Bonesaw and Panda Squad. So all the pressure is going to be on Illusion now to win that sniper battle. And there
got the elimination onto Bonesaw by courtesy of Joe, but Panda Squad will eliminate Fulcrum. Understandable. Hog has a big headshot hitbox. BBQ will be eliminated by Not Doomfist there, and the Everest are really trying to contest this, even though they're down Bonesaw. Chuma's Fum is going to go ahead and do it with the double elimination onto the Holy Chub and C-squared.
I would hope with the use of that Gravitic Flux, maybe Holy Chub swaps off of the Sigma, just because dealing with both a Ball and Diva is probably not Sigma's best situation when paired with a Roadhog of all people. Fulcrum's doing very well in this Roadhog, so I am actually pretty happy with him on it. He just needs to be able to help his backline because Diamond Dog's just having a field day back there.
BBQ is going to try to stun and body block Diamond Dog, even though Not Doomfist will take out Illusions now, leaving the teams even. Now down one as Not Doomfist is out for blood. Going to take out C squared, and BBQ is going to take out Bonesaw, which is pretty big. They could possibly rally in, especially now that Pando's been eliminated.
Maybe they just don't commit the rally at all and just try to find the eliminations. They don't even get eliminated by the Diva Bomb. So they can possibly continue this push forward as Respawn's now coming back in.
BBQ wants that Anna. Oh, they missed the whip shot, and they 39 HP, and the ball came rolling through. Panda Squad is going to get eliminated by Illusions now, who actually has been very reliably winning the battle of the Widowmakers, by the way. We'd like to highlight Everest DPS a lot right now, but Illusions now is winning the Widow duels.
And Joe has actually been getting a lot of flashbangs against Bonesaw, which allows him to get hooked and then get eliminated. Kind of a cheeky Deadeye. Maybe just to zone him out, but they get the first checkpoint. It just took almost 3 minutes.
But getting the first checkpoint is pretty huge. Bonesaw's going to come up against Illusions now, who hooked it exactly the wrong time because there were 3 members there. And Joe almost is going to flashbang himself, but not quite, and get the flash fan onto Bonesaw.
Yeah, well timed. As soon as Deflect went down, threw it right at the ground, got the stun, went for the Fan the Hammer. It's almost like Overwatch Alpha days when Fan the Hammer could solo a Rotok.
Diamond Dog is going to get the elimination on the BBQ. C squared going to go down to Panda Squad. That is both healers. Illusions now is going to go down to Diamond Dog on the ball. Joe is also going to go down, and at this point, you got to think the Everests have this fight.
Yeah, this is where you want to just hard reset, accept your fate. You can see Holy jumped in exactly that against Diamond Dog. But both of them going back in to try to, all right, free ult charge, I guess, at that point for both members. Illusion now wins the 1v1 again.
Still doing it to Panda Squad over there. Having an unfortunate time with Bonesaw and the Genji, however.
3-man rally charge.
Oh, big. Joe's going to eliminate Panda. Illusions now will be eliminated by Not Doomfist. There are some sniper shenanigans going on. Bonesaw's going to get into the air, and Genji Blade, they will be eliminated. Diamond Dog is going to pick up BBQ. Joe is going to pick up Not Doomfist, which is huge. The Cyclones still have members on point. Panda Squad is going to come up on that Widowmaker. C squared is playing a dangerous game, peeking that Widow. Chuma's Fun is going to come up onto him.
I mean, he's just...
He's just going for it. He's an and that is why you don't peek the Widowmaker. And then Panda Squad's going to get that second elimination onto Joe there after immediately eliminating C squared. And actually, I think that elimination onto C squared was the nail in the coffin that lost them that push. I think they could have won that and gotten that point if C squared hadn't gone down there.
Yeah, definitely a huge positioning error. He pushed the Widow, then continued to just stand out in the open, have no cover, no immortality field, throw down his ult while Diamond Dog was rocketing at his face, and Panda Squad gets the elimination. Very questionable decisions being made by C Squared, now swapping over to the Ana, which fits better in with this team comp, but going up against a Genji and a Wrecking Ball, you're going to need to protect her hard because just
Not
that happens.
Doomfist is going to go ahead and eliminate C squared in the battle of the Anas. Chuma's Fun is going to get the elimination. BBQ and Joe are going to go down to Panda. Not Doomfist still eliminating Illusions now. We've got an interesting thing. Oh, Chuma's Fun is going to try to remake in front of the whole hog, which was a terrible idea as they get eliminated. And Diamond Dog is also going to go down immediately after them. But at this point, the Cyclones are just trying to put bodies on cart, and with wall hacks going through, you got to think BBQ on the break isn't going to make it either.
I mean, 2 members remaining on the cart for the Everest and still get it?
Almost.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the constant battles of the Widows, later on Battle of the Ana.
There's an interesting thing happening with the snipers here, because Panda Squad is losing the Widowmaker battle, but Illusions now is losing the sniper battle to Not Doomfist. So there's a triangle, right? So Illusions now wins against the Widowmaker, but loses against the Ana. And usually that's the other way around.
Yeah, but at the same time, Not Doomfist is also winning his 1v1s. So
Yeah.
at that point, it is just... Maybe he's just a better Ana. So
Not
then why
Doomfist
would
is
C squared?
cracked.
So then why would C squared go to an Ana when he's not doing well on the Baptiste, but then also immediately get eliminated on the Ana? So you have to wonder, okay, so what can he do to not get eliminated as the main heals, no less? Because the whole time BBQ's been on this break, doing just fine, but it's a brig. I mean, you need heals to support it, but C-Squared is constantly getting taken down again and again and again, and it's not his tank's fault. The tanks are doing fine. Yeah, you had a Roadhog, so you can't really just human shield for him, especially because he was off playing by himself a lot of the times. Every time we cut to him for the stream, it was him trying to 1v1 a person, and you're just like, dude, you're Baptiste. Like, don't watch Gob. Watch other main heals for Baptiste plays of what to do. So already, hey, Panda Squad wins it this time.
Oh. Illusion's now put on the back foot there as Diamond Dog is going to get hacked and go down to Joe there, who's been an absolutely phenomenal player on the Sombra the couple times we've seen it pulled out. Genji is going to go ahead and get away. Bonesaw on that Genji, not Doomfist, is going to get a pretty big purple on the Fulcrum and BBQ. Immortality Field is going to be forced to come out. Bonesaw is going to get hacked and eliminated because of that, but they did get the elimination on the Fulcrum, which is huge, as now the Cyclones are forced to back up.
Yeah, it was definitely a bad trade for the Cyclones there because Everest have the spawn advantage. No less, it's a Genji who's just straight up faster than Fulcrum on the Sigma. This is a lot of just free distance for the cart right now, whereas the Everest held them here for almost 3 minutes to this point.
Battle Zenyatta is going to pop out. Not Doomfist is going to get the elimination on the BBQ. The Immortality Field is going to come down for C-Squared. Joe will also getting eliminated. Panda Squad, Cyclones are now down 2 as Pando is going to get eliminated, but C-Squared is going to get eliminated, and then the Holy Chub is going to follow after that. And you got to, somebody is still moving that cart though. Illusion's now going to go down to Panda Squad, a body shot there, as Chum is Fum on the Baby Diva is going to go down to a melee by Fulcrum. And Diamond Dog is going to try to finish what they started, but it's actually Panda Squad that will end up eliminating Fulcrum there on that Sigma. Bonesaw is looking for a cheeky blade here. Bonesaw kind of wants to play in that room.
Every blade from Bonesaw has been the definition of cheeky, because he just goes in on 1 or 2 people when he definitely should not win that engagement. And then somehow he does.
Illusion's now going to go ahead and win the Battle of the Widowmakers against Panda Squad. Joe will be taken down on the point by Bonesaw. And Illusion's now is pretty weak, and then Panda Squad will end up taking them out. They had 5 HP. C-Squared is going to go down to Bonesaw there, and at this point it's just cleanup for the Everest, who are still at the ultimate advantage.
C-Squared has improved though, because he's not getting first 2 eliminated in every team fight, so he is playing further back. But at the same time, so are his tanks, because the title of this Rumble has been Bully Sigma. Every time we cut to a team fight against Sigma, he's in a corner between 2 people. And it's like, this is not where you want to be, sir. Like, it's very questionable. And now BBQ on a break all by Lonesome does the same thing in a 1v2.
He's going to get eliminated by not Doomfist there, and the Nano Blade's going to come out. But so will the stun. They will end up getting C-Squared, and they will also get Illusions now on the Cole Cassidy. The Holy Chub will go down, and honestly, at this point, with this level of spawn camping, I don't even think the Cyclones can touch it.
There's no way they will, because he slept outside of the door.
This is a best of 3 though, instead of a best of 5, so we do end up going to another map. This is a best of 5 instead of a best of 3, excuse me.
But
so we will go to another map.
Map 3 is Assault.
An Esports Tower, you want to be seen by college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers? Then join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights, and with our featured rumbles, recruiters are taking notice too. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. And that map, I think, we do end up going to a map 3 because this is a best of 5, and our next map is Assault on Hanamura, so we will end up seeing what goes on there. What are the Everests looking to do to just kind of roll and make this a 3-0 on Hanamura?
I mean, something we've seen from them in the past is Sim Brawl with a Bastion.
That's true.
You take the roof, take the back, right behind the bell. You have that already just man-made cover. You get half the point, and then just continue to push forward. We've seen them also just do May Sim. You May wall, immediately sim onto point. You start just freezing, take point. You have better security. So for the defense from the Cyclones to try to stop that, well, first off, you want to call the teleporter. So Absolutely. They need to have vision of it and push up far enough, which is something that they really haven't been great at, is, you know, taking the space when you have that advantage, trying to take those fights, because they're playing very reserved, it seems. So on something like Hanamura, where most teams just hold front door, do nothing else, hold front door, and Sim Teleporter is the definition of let's not hold door and go behind you. So hopefully we can see the Cyclones try to counteract this unless they are attacking first. And if they are, I hope, so they are, with their own Symmetra. But this time bringing a Hanzo. Hanzo with Sim Brawl teleporting onto point is probably not the best wombo combo. BBQ on the Roadhog will be able to give them that sustain that they need on point, but maybe not for the rest of his team. Joe now on the support role this time, no longer on DPS.
C-Squared is immediately going to go down to triplet, and it looks like the Everest are just holding right outside their spawn. Joe is going to get eliminated by Bonesaw, but Pando will also get eliminated on the side of the Everest, and you got to think at this point their close hold is pretty much broken.
Yeah, we did not have any vision on that close hold, so it came as a welcome surprise to both of us, apparently. And the Cyclones just really had to kind of regroup, because now it's going to be the typical Hanamura stall of we're at the door and need a regroup. There goes the teleporter, but they were so split apart.
BBQ is unable to teleport to the point, and that was one of their biggest. That was going to be one of the biggest damage dealers on the point. They will go ahead and get the health back, trying to win the duel against Bonesaw, even hiding behind the pillar there. They're going to go ahead and miss that hook, and they might. When 2 heals into it, the 1v1 is still going on, and Bonesaw is just farming Blade right now.
I mean, that's the perk of going
go down.
BBQ's whole hog just for Bonesaw. It seemed personal.
That whole 1v1 felt personal because they were both in that for a very extended amount of time. We're kind of going back looking at the members of the Everest as they respawn here, so we can't actually see too much of the fight happening, if there is any, as we approach
we missed
the
whole
second
fight
point.
on point. I mean,
Because of the 1v1, yeah.
we just didn't see any of it. Cyclones apparently teleported on the point and won the fight against the Everest, but
Bonesaw was off doing things against BBQ, and
I have questions.
the law's going to go down, so is Joe and Soup, looking like this first Everest defense is going to be successful here as Triplet even gets the boof onto Soup on that Sombra.
Yeah, so Everest, it seems, just coming alive on the second point, finally getting some eliminations. I mean, they have 5 ults in their back pocket and just holding on to them forever. At least Sunky has one with C-Squared and the Law bringing up the rear for the ults, but they just need a picker here too. And they have a whole 5 minutes to burn off the clock here. So Cyclones could definitely bring it back. They have the 3 ultimates. They have the tools in their kit to make it happen. But when you're going up against 5 ults, soon to be all 6, might be an
It's
issue.
all 6, and the charge is going to eliminate. Bonesaw is going to go in with the Blade. They will get eliminated themselves, however. But it looks like Bonesaw just is the price as all the remaining members of the Cyclones are eliminated, and that's a team kill that comes out.
I mean, committing 2 ults for a team kill, whereas the Cyclones didn't commit anything and got wiped. Yeah, they have 4 minutes on the board to burn, but you want that for overtime because you know the Everest are going to come back with a fury. So this is still where you want to keep the pressure on, and with Soup on this Sombra looking to try to build that EMP, it could be a huge game changer for them. But now Bonesaw on the Reaper, he's going to always win those indoor battles. And now the Amplification Matrix. Good start to the fight for the Cyclones.
Diamond Dog is going to go down, but so are Joe and Soup, leaving the Cyclones down 1 here. And now even as Avian's going to go down to BBQ there, the Law is still going to back up. However, as Sunky is also going to get eliminated by Pando, Bonesaw is chasing them hard. And I think the difference here is aggression, because that's 3 people pushing 5 people back. Oh, get him! Ooh. I loved that. The Law, the cheeky teleport into them, Bonesaw got punished for it. We love to see it. And at this point, I think the Everests are going to try to just save hold up in this up-hand corner here and wait for Bonesaw to respawn.
I mean, they're going to get it for free because Cyclones just keep pushing the same
Oh
button.
my god.
Great shatter!
Huge shatter, just laid them all out, Diamond Dog did, as Bonesaw's still going to go down to Sunky and be the prize for another successful Everett's defense. The Cyclones, maybe this isn't the strat, or maybe they just need to try it with EMP.
I mean, I would hope that's exactly what they do, or use the double dragon since they've held it onto it for 3 team fights now and still just haven't used it. Soup, very cheeky, just in their face, but perk of being invisible, so.
Oh my gosh.
Avian
and Joe are going to go down before the fight even happens here, and honestly, pretty good trade, because Avian will be back immediately, whereas Joe will not.
I mean, they've already burned off 2 minutes off the board, and the Cyclones have yet to really enter the building. So Everest are feeling very comfy here. They have 4 ultimates to the granted 5 of Cyclones, but Cyclones need to start using them. They're just dying in the hallway. Avian being a little cheeky here.
Super cheeky, but they will be able to be respawned before the fight even happens. And at this point, you got to think a well-placed EMP will win them this point.
Yeah, hopefully we can at least see it come out here because the
Diamond Dog's going to get charged down. There's the EMP. That is a 3-man EMP onto everybody except for the one person it needs to be on, which is Triplet. The Dragon is also going to come out. Bonesaw and Diamond Dog are both going to go down, leaving the Cyclones up 2 here as Pando is down in Immortality Field. Chuma's Bum is hacked on the point. They're being desperately healed by their Baptiste. Avian is going to take down Sunky, but Chuma's Bum will die on the point, leaving them down another couple members. Triple is going to get hacked and maybe eliminated here as Soup is going to pick up that elimination, but Diamond Dog and Bonesaw put in work off screen, and it looks like that might be the end of the push for the Cyclones there.
Yeah, it was definitely some questionable ult usage from the Cyclones. They used the grab, the amplification matrix, and the double dragons against Diva, and she flew out of the way of them. So very questionable decisions on the side of the Cyclones for 3 of the 5 ults they had built up. And then the Law used Shatter, which we didn't see, sadly. Now Bonesaw has the Death Blossom, and they have Pando has the Amplification Matrix. Diamond Dog has the Shatter. Hopefully Cyclones are calling it, but they just didn't see the Reaper.
Didn't see the Reaper behind him, came up, pressed Q, got a team kill. Win game. There we go. Eliminate Bonesaw, win game. Perfect example here is he's just going to eliminate your whole team there, except BBQ's going to, and then they're just going to jump off the map because I know they have a couple minutes to do that, a couple seconds to do that here as the Cyclones are desperately trying to rush this point. And maybe Soup has to land the EMP of their life and they all have to follow through on it.
Yeah, still holding on to it, or just built it up that quickly.
Built it up again.
Which is very impressive.
Which is huge. They built it up in a single fight. Soup is definitely, you cannot say Soup has not been working hard.
Yeah, Soup has been putting in work, and so has Sunky, always getting the elimination against Avian, but the rest of his team just gets way too distracted and too far
Single
behind.
man EMP, or double man EMP onto the Lucio and the Reinhardt.
There's the Shatter.
The Law is going to get eliminated as well as C squared. Triplet is going to go down as well as Diamond Dog, and honestly this fight isn't looking very good for the Cyclones, especially as that Bastion pops out on Avian just to get a couple of unexpected eliminations there in the corner, and that was a little bit of a BM there on the side of Bonesaw, and we don't appreciate that.
I mean, Bonesaw had the Penta, he was trying to get the 6, and BBQ denies him with the suicide, so I understand how he's a little upset from that, but the Cyclones had very questionable ult usage in both those fights. They had Sombra pushed up way far ahead, was not near any of the enemies for that EMP, only landed onto 3,
Death Blossom.
maybe? A beautiful Death Blossom, well-deserved for Bonesaw, which is why we highlight them as much as we do. BBQ denying him, which is the deserved shaking of the mouse upset, but with the Everest, they burned off 5 minutes from the Cyclones' attack on the second point. The Cyclones had so many opportunities to change the team comp, get some better ult usage, at least getting 1 or 2 with their ults. But again and again and again, they just weren't. They threw 3 ultimates onto 1 target and couldn't eliminate the 1 target. So you have to wonder, why didn't you change up sooner after that had failed? And they just didn't. So hopefully here, now on the defense, we might see them do so. Maybe hold the Everest on the point 1 and not just be such a dominating victory for them. But with the Everett's bringing back the Reaper, this time now Avian on the Reaper, and Bonesaw on the Symmetra. But Pando bringing out the Moira, which is someone we have not seen very much in this matchup.
The Everests are trying to TP to the point and take both points in under a minute before the Cyclones are ready for them. That's what this comp tells me.
They're the team to do it, so I believe they can. They just need to have the right target prioritization, especially with Sunky and that turret being kind of a martyr for them. The teleporter goes down and they don't even use it. Maybe it's
Teleporter is the debate strategy there as the team is a little bit split. Avian's going to go around on the Reaper and see what they can do, but the Junkrat just going to kind of wave at the Junkrat across the way because there's not really a ton that they can do.
Teleport. Ooh.
They're going to see if they can get the far flank here.
I mean, he's very much by his lonesome. The rest of the team still rotating over. They know they're up there, just not applying any pressure besides the Junkrat.
I'm still concerned about that Reaper in the backline because none of them have seen
Ooh,
him.
there's the teleporter. Only
Teleporter's
two
gonna come out.
make it.
Less than optimal. Reaper is on the point now. Triplet will live. Both of them will live. Bonesaw's going to go ahead and take out Joe. C-Squared is also going to get taken out. Chum's Fun is the price, but the Law is going to get taken out by Avian on that Reaper. Triplet's going to go ahead and get Sunky there. And you got to think at this point, that is first point for the Everest. Took him a little bit longer than a minute there.
I mean, that was just them rotating. There weren't even eliminations or much damage being exchanged. It was just, all right, we want to get set up, play a little bit mind games, waste a minute and a half. All right, now we'll attack and just clean sweep.
All right, we got the teleporter down. Only 2 people got through. No problem. The rest of the team is going to dive in and get some eliminations.
They only lost Diva that whole time. But immediately before Diva got eliminated, they had taken down both supports of the Cyclones. So huge value gain. And the Cyclones now on point 2 haven't changed their roster at all and only have 1 ult on the board. Yes, it's the tires, so it can be a huge game changer for them. They just need to have the right target prioritization, and it needs to be on Pando with that Coalescence. And the Coalescence already came out. Here comes the tire.
Gonna go ahead and get Diamond Dog, but Joe and Stoop and C-Squared are all eliminated. So you gotta think maybe Diamond Dog's the price here as the rest of the members of the Cyclones fall, and that's a basic team kill there.
Clean.
That took them maybe a minute and 50 seconds, not quite 2 minutes there, as they're just gonna go ahead and take that. And I mean, we expected it to be fast when they popped out with that comp.
Yeah, Everett's for sure knew exactly what they were doing, what rotations to go, and definitely did not repeat the same error that the Cyclones made, which was, all right, we're attacking Hanamura. We're going to go straight through the door, straight to the point. Second point, we're going top right, nowhere else. Whereas the Everetts did completely the opposite. They went top right first point, around through the back, and then attacked it from behind. Second point, they went far left with Teleporter and just walked on it, only losing Diamond Dog to the tire, no less. So clean victory from the Everest, showing why they deserve that #1 spot.
Want to be seen by expert college recruiters? Talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers? Then join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights, and with our featured rumbles, recruiters are taking notice too. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. And you can check them out at esportstower.com. Other than Bonesaw, is there anybody that you'd like to highlight for the ICCU player of the game?
Outside, I'll even do you one better. Outside of the Everest, Illusion now doing very well on the window for Junkertown. Joe as well. They were a really good wombo combo for the DPS. Frozen Phoenix did very well on that Winston, so huge props to him. I would give it to one of those 3 personally.
I also want to mention Fulcrum, especially on the Roadhog, as well as on the other tank heroes that they were on, just because they managed aggression very well, and they were usually able to get the eliminations while they themselves stayed alive. The issue, I think, that the Cyclones had a little bit was that certain members were, like, out of their minds cracked on certain specific maps, right? Like, we saw Joe get a lot of consistent value all night, and then they swapped over to the Brig, and then didn't necessarily get as much.
But at the same time, they weren't even getting eliminated as much. They were just kind of there. Like,
they were just existing.
Exactly. Like, they were not getting eliminated, not getting eliminations. They were just doing their job as a Brig, which is keep the team alive and in the fight. And, of course,
to the surprise of no one.
No one at all. I mean, there's nobody we have talked about more in this stream than Bonesaw with how much they are just a commander of both their team and the battlefield. So, obviously well-deserved, but also at the same time, Diamond Dog for main tank of Everest is one we constantly highlight again and again and again. He's usually the one that gets traded out in the team fights, and I like to think of it as because he's such a big threat rather than just being the main tank. And also, not Doomfist, and just the whole lineup of the Everest is so hard.
Was winning the sniper battles against Illusions now, who was taking out the Everest's Widowmaker, which is hilarious to me.
I mean, maybe he's just too preoccupied taking down Panda Squad to notice not Doomfist, and he was just capitalizing on it. But at the same time, you're not prioritizing taking down main heals versus the other DPS. So just huge props to the Everest just having an A team.
And the ICCU, the player of the game, is going to end up being Bonesaw to the surprise of no one, but the Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central Credit Union is helping members achieve financial success. Again, to the surprise of no one, Bonesaw is the Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game. Are there any specific plays other than the one that we just watched from the Bonesaw highlight reel with the complete team kill with a flanky Reaper, which was absolutely great? Are there any plays you expect to see in the top 5?
It's hard not to highlight the Bonesaw ones because that's what we just saw.
Sneaky Reaper Death Blossom.
I mean, yeah, Sneaky Reaper Death Blossom that got a penta and was denied the 6, so I feel bad for you, bud. But for the other matches, I really liked any time on the very beginning when it was the Everest taking on Acid Rain with the Pharmacy on Ilios.
Oh, yeah.
They did very well with any time the Bongo came out, they went behind, got the barrage, and were getting elimination. So those did very well, especially early on with Acid Rain, with how much they struggled. Those were a lot of the highlights that they were able to perform, and they still won a map against Cyclones, so they had some good plays as well.
And we do just want to say congratulations to all of our teams on a very exciting Week 2 Spring Overwatch Rumble. The Everest remain on top, but in their debut performances, both the Acid Rain and the Cyclones had some impressive performances and plays, just like we just highlighted, and they both improved quickly. We fully expect them to get much, much better with team play and other things as this continues because they're new teams. And you can't really expect the new team to go against the reunited huge mountainous team of the Everest. So we will be back in 2 weeks to see if anyone can chase down the Everest in our Week 3 Rumble. Make sure to come back in 2 weeks, Tuesday at 6 p.m. EST for our next Overwatch Rumble. And we'll close out with the top 5 presented by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. With more than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for, the Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. And with that, we're going to close out with our top 5, and be kind and stay safe. Scattered playstyle right now.
Yeah, Diamond Dog tried to go for the knockdown on for the piece. The Nano won't come out, but again, the Bastion's their win condition. They had to take him down, and so far they just haven't had a coordinated attack yet.
I have to wonder why they didn't wait out the amplification matrix, especially after Delirious was eliminated on the Brig. For the side of the Acid Rain, as the Real is also going to go down. Sunky is going to go down as well. To blank, Sweatpants is going to go down on the side of the Acid Rain. 2C squared on that Brig there. Huge Purple is going to come out onto the enemy Tracer, and it looks like Blank and Frozen Phoenix will also be eliminated, courtesy of the Cyclones, who are probably going to get this point.
For Timid Flux, just like that.
And it looks like Luffy's going to try to get some value on the backline. They will eliminate C squared. BBQ will also come out. Joe and Fulcrum, that is the Cyclones down 4. And you got to think the 2 remaining members are going to fall pretty easily, as Illusions is going to get Sweatpants, though. Sweatpants is the price.
I mean, I'll take that trade any day. Going up against the more stereotypical wall and maul team of the Cyclones with this May, with both walls unable to get elimination instead of the immortality.
Panda Squad is going to eliminate Soup, and they will also eliminate BBQ there, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and win that brawl there. Panda Squad just killed 4 or 5 members in the head there by Illusions camping that window. Chuma's Fum is thinking about using the Diva Bomb maybe as we set up in between these 2 fights.
Yeah, it's a great way to engage, but now you want to play maybe a little bit slower because they do have wall hacks and can see it, but with how far they're backing up, guys, you have to hold the point, not just give it up.
Pretty big bomb by Chuma's